With the BBC News at 2, I'm Anna Preston. The radio presenter Janice Long has died following a short illness, aged 66. Long, who's originally from Merseyside and who, for many, pioneered the role of the female DJ, became a household name on Radio 1 in the 1980s and also presented Top of the Pops. Our entertainment correspondent Lisa Mzumba looks back at her life.
Janice Long.
Hello and welcome to the show. It's great to be here. Hope you'll be around until 10 o'clock.
When Janice Long joined Radio 1 in 1982, she was one of only 2 female DJs there, and she soon became the first regular female presenter on Top of the Pops. In 1999, she began presenting a weekly radio show on Radio 2 and stayed with the station for more than 17 years. She was one of the founding presenters when Radio 6 Music launched in 2002, and in recent years she presented on Greatest Hits Radio and on BBC Radio Wales. She'll be remembered as a female trailblazer and as someone with an infectious passion for music.
Tributes are being paid to Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who died at the age of 90. He played a prominent role in the movement to end apartheid in South Africa and led the country's Truth and Reconciliation Committee after Nelson Mandela became president. The current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, said Archbishop Tutu had been one of an outstanding generation of South Africans. The Bishop of Worcester, the Right Reverend John Inge, said his faith played a huge part in uniting South Africa.
He was a towering figure, not just within the Anglican Church in South Africa, but on the world stage. The ending of an era. He was an exact contemporary of Nelson Mandela, and he was a real inspiration in terms of the ending of apartheid.
Tighter COVID restrictions are now in force in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland to try to limit the spread of the Omicron variant. Social distancing rules are back, with limits on the number of households that can meet up in pubs and restaurants and the numbers able to attend events indoors and outdoors. England is waiting to see if further restrictions will be brought in. The number of flights that were cancelled worldwide over the Christmas weekend because of the Omicron coronavirus variant has risen to more than 7,000. In the United States alone, more than 500 planes were grounded today. The Home Secretary Priti Patel has announced plans to extend legislation known as football banning orders. The proposals would mean that anyone who posts racist abuse online could be stopped from attending games in England and Wales for up to 10 years. And England's cricketers have suffered another batting collapse on day 1 of the 3rd Ashes Test in Melbourne. They were all out for 185, Australia a 61 for 1 in reply. The home side will win the series if they win this game. You're up to date, it's 3 minutes past 2.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Travel.
It's a very good afternoon. Let's look then at the roads for you. There have been issues, as you've been hearing, with David Hamilton. Thanks to David. On the M25, it's still slow. This is heading clockwise from Clackett Lanes to Junction 6, the Godstone turning. Queues and long delays on the M25 going clockwise from Junction 10, the Wisley interchange, turning to Junction 12. That's the M3, Junction 2 turn off. Travel times currently around 25 minutes. Congestion to the opposite side and the M3 northbound as it heads into London. Queues on the M25 as well clockwise. This is from 13, the Staines turn off, to 15, the M4 interchange. Travel time around 25 minutes there. Looking at the public transport network, a reminder, reduced service across the network on Avanti West coaches because of a shortage of train crews. Some roadworks as well. In Battle, temporary lights on the A2100, the Hastings Road near Stars Green Lane because of water main work. Claremont Lane in Esher, gas main work and a contraflow around Milbourne Lane. That's until the 5th of next month. And staying in Esher, Worsley Road closed between Portsmouth Road and Lammas Lane because of roadworks. That's until Tuesday the 10th.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Very good afternoon. I'm Tim Durrans. We are ready for a bumper afternoon of sport. sport. I hope you had a great Christmas day, and whatever you're doing this afternoon, take us with you as we embark on our 8-hour journey. From 7 tonight, our focus is on the Premier League as Brighton and Hove Albion look to return to action and to winning ways as they welcome Brentford to the Amex. Before that, we have the small matter of the Surrey-North Hampshire derby as the Shots welcome Woking in the National League.
Harris plays Andrews, he's onside. He's going through the middle, he's got strikers either side. Can he finish? Yes! Deflection off the keeper, into the net. A second goal of the afternoon for Corey Andrews. Eastleigh 0, Aldershot Town 3.
At the start of November, the Shots are in serious trouble. Second bottom with just 4 points, 4 wins and a draw later. Mark Molesley's outfit, 5 points clear of the bottom 3 and ready to entertain their rivals.
We're well aware of the magnitude of the game around and what it means to the fans. I think for us, we've got to keep a clear head and complete clarity because we know how important this game is to everyone. We're well aware of that, and we'll be doing everything we can to get the win.
Couldn't it be more opposite for Woking, could it? Heading into the season with high hopes after going full-time. They've won 8 times, but lost 11. Assistant manager Ian Dyer knows the Shots are the form team.
If you can look at Aldershot's run recently from where they were 6 games ago to where they were now, it just shows at any point a club can get on that little bit of a run and gain some momentum, and we'll certainly be hoping to do that.
Please stay with us. We've got all the build-up from the EBB Stadium. We have got a feature on tributes from Marvin Morgan, of course, who played for both clubs and sadly passed away, aged 38 in the last few weeks. We'll get a feature interview with the Woking chairman, or the shareholder, I should say, a majority shareholder, John Katz. We'll hear from him. We'll follow the progress of Dorking Wanderers and Sutton United this afternoon. 8 Premier League matches were meant to be on, of course, but now just 5 left. Albion Brentford at 8, and we've got the King George from Kempton Park going off at 3:05. All that and a sports special between now and 10 tonight.
Sports Special with Tim Dorrans.
Yes, a very good afternoon. Without further ado, let's go over to the EBB Stadium, the home of Aldershot Town. They welcome Woking this afternoon. Might be a little early for team news, but I'm delighted to welcome John Moore, who's wearing the Woking hat this afternoon, but alongside him, Rob Worrell, our totally impartial Shots commentator. Good afternoon, Rob.
Good afternoon. Split right down the middle right now until John rejoins me, actually, Tim. But yeah, we await the teams, the team news, the crowd. It's still very, very early days, but we're going to bring you all the build-up here today as well. It's an eagerly waited, anticipated one. And I say that on behalf of both clubs, I think, Tim, because if you are Woking and you're on the run that they're on just now, this is probably the kind of game that they would want, because why not? You know, they say form goes out of the window in local derbies, and so Aldershot certainly can't be clinging to that today. Yeah, so we're still waiting the team news, and I guess that's who turns up on the day, who's got up, taken a test, and is good to go. Do you know what I mean? It must be very, very difficult times for those trying to run the teams right now, and for the players as well, who've got to stay in their bubbles as much as they can, but they're human beings and they've got to live their life as well.
You've been to many of these derbies as a fan for many years as well. You know it very well as a match. Obviously, North Hampshire and Surrey, but there is a rivalry. We're going to look at the history in a moment's time. Go back and hear some of the goals from the last 20-odd years. But a quick word on what it means to the two teams, do you think? Because obviously they haven't always been in the same division. But what does this match mean today to the 4,000 fans it could be there today, something like that?
It could well be certainly over 3,000. We'll wait and see, Tim. But I know there were only, when I walked through the front office at about 12 today, there were only 100 tickets left for the East Bank, so it's going to make for a fantastic atmosphere. It's a strange rivalry, as you say, 2 different counties, but one that's just building and growing all the time, particularly as season in, season out. Just now they're both in the same division. In the 2 clubs' histories, of course, they've been taking it in turns to be higher than the other one and not have rivalries, much like Aldershot and Farnborough is a similar situation. But it has built a little bit, and I guess it's solidified last season when Woking got their victory in the FA Cup. I know you'll touch on that in a little while. And in the league, of course, it's been very much going Aldershot's way for the last 3 or 4 seasons now. Yeah, it's a very difficult one to call. I don't know in the mix to the build-up today whether you're going to ask me to do a prediction or not, but if you were, I'm going to go right down the middle, and in honour of the man we named the score forecast after, who sadly passed away in the last 24 hours, I'm going to go for a Desmond, a 2-2.
Yes, great stuff, Rob. Thank you for now. We're going to talk to Rob and to John Moore in detail. We're going to hear the history of this wonderful fixture. If you're on the way to the EBB Stadium, just stay in the car if you can, 15, 20 minutes. But we're just going to reflect on Woking first, because it's a return, of course, to full-time football after new investment from the Americans John Katz and Drew Volpe. They brought Peter Jordan's shares to become majority shareholders in the summer. The full-time status alongside came along with a dozen new players, new physio, strength and conditioning coach. But it's not been a great start, as we hinted at. 11 defeats from the opening 19 matches. It leaves them 15th, 9 points off the playoffs. I've been speaking to John Katz this week and asked him what he makes of the start of life since they arrived in the summer.
Some very good highs. Thankfully, not as many, but a couple of lows. And we're just trying to get back onto an even plane, and both on and off the pitch. If you're looking at it from my perspective, do we get 10, 11 points out of this next stretch of matches, starting with Boxing Day? I think that's very realistic. And then all of a sudden you start, you're looking at 2 points a game, and then all of a sudden you're starting to crawl back up the table, because 2 points a game is that's promotion form. We look at everything that's been there, the players that have brought in. We're one or two pieces away from being exactly where we want to be. But you're right. We've given these guys all the opportunities with the full-time football, but it's a learning process, especially for the former part-time players. It's a different level. And, thankfully our guys have stepped up to it. Douse has been definitely a lot more creative with squad selection. Now, of course, some of that's been injury and illness and, things we've had to work around. But really, the big part of the season for us will always start, as long as we're playing Aldershot on Boxing Day, that's when it starts. And if we can get a good run going over the next five matches, we're right back in the thick of it.
Are there any targets that Alan Dowson and the team need to meet this season, or are you allowing them a year to bed in?
I think in any case, we'd love to do that. Football's a results-driven business. We need to perform better. There's only so much that you can look at and say, okay, the manager, the assistants, the physios, the strength coaches, the nutrition, all that can do so much. Training, 4 days a week and all this can do a lot. It's been wonders for the fitness. Max Kretschmar is the one that I'd point to and say, wow, he's never been more fit. But once they cross over that white line, it's on the players and not the backroom staff. And I think the players know that. And it's not like we're in or not in every match. It tends to be from us an individual mistake here and there, and unfortunately late in a match where it seems to always be, I haven't looked at the numbers, but I would imagine our goals conceded between the 80th minute and the end of the match is a lot higher than most any period. And whether that's just switching off for a minute, whether that's getting leggy, it's hard to say. But, if you can, with a good squad, if you can eliminate one or two of those individual errors, and I think you're right back in it. And again, that we always put athletes on a pedestal and think that they're not subject to, the normal reactions that we have in life that has nothing to do with playing a sport. And again, I think some of that stuff, you got to understand how the mind process works and just, help building confidence.
And I hate to ask this question around Christmas time, but 11 defeats, 9 wins, Alan Dowson and his backroom staff, they're safe for now then. You want to give them time and patience. It's a new project, or is it results driven? And is there a time period to turn this around?
There's no definitive time period. Obviously, we wouldn't have, I said this a year ago, when we had lost 9 straight, that I believe Alan Dowson is the man to take this club to the Football League. Until I'm proven wrong, he was a big reason why Woking was the club we came to. It's a very old saying in football, but managers don't get themselves sacked. That's where it comes back to individual errors and lapses in concentration. It's players. What I hope and what I believe is that these guys are really embedded. They understand. whether Douse will say he's under pressure or not. We still have, our normal daily conversations, and we're keeping things positive, and we're looking for, some folks to potentially bring in the January window to help get us better. It just seems that, the players that we would want are not for sale yet, as I like to say, or, they're just players that aren't going to make us better. When you look at our squad, especially our best 11, barring injuries and barring everything else, we've got on paper a phenomenal squad. There are just little tweaks here and there that can help make us better. Whatever money has to go in, we'll figure out a way to do it. With everything that we've done on and off the pitch, we want, it's the goal of the board, it's the goal of my partner and I, it's the goal of the backroom staff and Douse and ultimately the players, that we can match that performance and more people will want to come and see us.
That is the Woking majority shareholder John Catt speaking to me this week. On the line, I'm delighted to welcome someone I've known many years, John Moore from Woking, who'll be sat alongside our Aldershot commentator Rob Worrell to ensure fair play and balance this afternoon. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Tim.
You've seen a few of these as well, haven't you? A few derbies.
I have, and lost rather a lot of them.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to hear some of those defeats and a couple of victories in a moment's time. But let's slightly better reading. Real support there from John Katz for what Alan and the team are doing. It's a new project. He's saying we're 6 months in, 5 months in. We backed him last season when they lost 9 in a row. He has our full backing. You happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. Nobody wants to change the manager. And we all know that things can change very, very quickly in football. For example, I was speaking to Shy, Aldershot's chairman, after the spanking they got against Wrexham. And the fans were all calling for Mosley's head, Brown's head. Well, look at them now. So it doesn't take too much to get things turned around. But the important thing is football's a results business. And, Woking need to get their season back on track.
Indeed. And what will that take? I mean, some of the performances, remember how they had that really purple week or 10 days when they beat 4 of the top 5, didn't they, or whatever?
Yeah, they did. I mean, obviously confidence plays a big part. And I think what also matters is having a settled side, continuity. There have been lots of chops and changes made. And also trying to cut out these individual errors. Some of them really beg a belief. But, it's a good opportunity starting today with a derby match against an Aldershot team who are vibrant, young, and let's see what happens.
Great stuff. That's John Moore. We'll hear from him throughout the afternoon. He did hint that it hasn't been a wonderful record for Woking against Aldershot in their derbies. And with the shots, of course, in the Football League all the way up until 1992, then reforming, starting at the bottom of the Isthmian League, and Woking have never as yet gone into the Football League themselves. The two clubs didn't actually meet for the first time in league action until the 2003-2004 season with a 2-2 draw and a memorable shots win.
Goes inside the penalty area, still has possession. Roscoe Desai goes alone, he shoots, it's there! Roscoe Desai with a beautiful solo effort against his former club, and in the dying seconds of the first half, it's now Aldershot Town 2, Woking 0.
Well, the Shots also won both games in 2004-2005, sharing the spoils the following season with a win each. In 2006-2007, Woking won one and secured a draw, so that was a good year for the Cards. Before along came Gary Waddick in his Aldershot Town side doing the double over the Cards on the way to what, of course, ended up being an historic promotion for the new club to the Football League 16 years after the old club had gone bust.
Joel Grant releases Danny Hilton. Hilton inside the penalty area and it's passed into the back of the net by Kirk Hudson. Kirk Hudson wheels away from the Aldershot Town players in celebration, and Aldershot Town with just 12 and a half minutes to go as Woking were looking to solidify their midfield have hit Woking on a killer break on the left hand side. Good play by Hilton and by Grant, and Kirk Hudson passes it into net for his 5th goal in 5 games, and it's Woking 0, Aldershot Town 1. Into the back of the net, and Kirk Hudson for the 3rd game in a row scores against Woking. He scored on Boxing Day, he scored here today at the Rec as well, and what a New Year's Day present for the Aldershot Town fans. Kirk Hudson with a slide rule pass into the back of the net from the Johnny Dixon layoff. and it's Aldershot Town 1, Woking 0. Aldershot attacking, striking with the cross towards Ricky Newman. Brilliant goal by Aldershot Town. A superb goal, lovely work down the left-hand side. A great cross, and it found the veteran head of Ricky Newman, who bulleted a header into the back of the net. Giuseppe Sol steps up and drives it into the back of the net. Nicky ball went the right way, but Giuseppe Sol's shot had too much power. It nestled into the back of the net, and have Woking been given a lifeline in this second half?
The answer was no, sadly. The two sides then weren't to meet again until 2013. The Shots relegation back out of the Football League, of course. The relegation was also followed by administration and debts of £1 million. Plus, somehow, they got a team thrown together in time for August and again beat the Cards at the end of that opening month.
We took over control of the club on the 1st of August. Effectively, that was 10 days before the start of the season. So it's been an extremely hectic time, trying to actually get sort of 3 months of pre-season, close season work into a little over a week just to get the team on the pitch. Frankly, we need to say a whole load of thank yous to a lot of our supporters, volunteers, and importantly the sponsors that we're very pleased to say are coming back to the club.
As here's an early transfer shot, and it's a goal after just 23 seconds, and it's the returning Matt Patterson slotting it past Aaron Howe. An absolute calamity in the revised Woking defence, and Patterson with his first goal for Aldershot Town has coolly made them pay. What a start here at the Ebbs Stadium. Aldershot Town 1, Woking 0. Oyeleke steps on the gas into the penalty area. Now here's Rowlands into the middle, and Brett Williams has scored against his former side. Lovely work from the shots down the left. Oyeleke chipped it into the back post area, and Brett Williams nodded it in. His second goal for Aldershot Town, and he's made his former club pay. It's Aldershot Town 2, Woking 0.
Well, the Shots were to complete the double again, I'm afraid, in one of the biggest games, of course, in their history, with a certain Mark Molesey scoring. We'll play that nearer the time ahead of kick-off. And we'll hear from Mark. Of course, a very proud Aldershot Town manager now. Woking's turn, though, was finally to come. Gary Hill's Cards doing the double in 2015-2016.
Molesey tries a shot, took a deflection, and it's in! Aldershot Town have
Davison on his Woking debut into the penalty area, and he slots it over. Woking have got an equaliser. It was a slide rule ball through the Aldershot Town defence, and Josh Davison, 44 minutes into his Woking debut, slides it into the back of the net, and in this fourth qualifying round of the FA Cup, this local derby is back all square. Aldershot Town 1, Woking 1. Kretschmar is through, the goalkeeper slips and he scores! Oh, that was so unlucky for Mitch Walker. He looked favourite to get it as he came out of his 6-yard box, but he slipped back to his feet, slipped again, and it allowed Max Kretschmar, the Woking sub, to sneak in, slot it inside his left-hand post, and with 13 minutes to go, it's Aldershot Town 1, Woking 2. We're now in stoppage time, at the end of stoppage time, and there isn't any more time for Aldershot Town. They've gone down by 2 goals to 1 here at Woking. And for the first time in 6 attempts, Woking have beaten their local rivals. And it's Woking who will be going through to the first round proper of the FA Cup. So there's now a flare-up on halfway as staff members and substitutes and everyone running onto the pitch as tempers flare. I can see a couple of fists flying there in the middle.
I was going to say about the fans,
a little bit of the
Aldershot Town fans here today, and it showed what it meant to them. You know, the celebrations from the players were in front of the fans as well. It was a really unified feeling today.
It was absolutely fantastic, and like I said, they're the ones who pushed us over the line. I mean, personally, you know, I've had a few knocks and I've had to sort of come back and play. I'm not really at my peak fitness, so, you know, I have to hold my hands up, but it was a matter of getting out and then playing the games. When you're looking for that extra bit of motivation to keep yourself going, they turned out in their numbers and certainly provided that, and I'd like to thank them for that, from all the boys, because, you know, they really helped push us over the line. But personally for myself, when, you know, they really gave me that extra lift when I needed it, and I was dead on my feet, legs had gone, and, you know, they kept pushing. They got their rewards in the end as well.
So a bit of a mix there, maybe button slipping, but yes, so Woking winning, of course, in the Gary Hill era. We then heard the wonderful win the last time the two sides met, which ended a big run, which Rob will tell us a little bit about later. They haven't won for 7 or something, so Aldershot really dominated this derby, and Woking really due a decent result in the league, but they did have that cup win. Back to the boys in the next 10 minutes, but let us now feature our game in National League South. Eastbourne Borough, that game is off today. They were due to play Hampton and Richmond Borough, But we are now going to talk Dorking Wanderers, who are at home this afternoon. Les Freeman, a very good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome to Meadowbank.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about this one, because it's been an injury-plagued season. We're going to hear from Mark White in the next 20 minutes, but a remarkable sort of turnaround the last few weeks, and Dorking back in the mix.
Yes, and actually both teams up there now, so we're looking forward to it. It's probably going to be a very competitive game, as they normally are with Havant.
Yeah, I mean, they're a strong side, aren't they? And like yourselves, with ambitions.
Absolutely, and they're also quite a big-looking team. We have had horrendous troubles with injuries, and our defence is still being pulled apart at the moment. So we've got Dan Gallagher again, who's been deputising for Ed Harris at the back and doing a great job. Captain Barry Fuller returns today, which is always a blessing. And new sign Jordan Cheadle playing in the back. And great to know that Jason Pryor, obviously ex of Havant, has almost back to fitness now. So he starts today, which is a good sign, because he really has had a difficult 6 or 7 weeks struggling to try and get himself back to fitness. So it's looking like it could be a very, very good competition. Alfie Rutherford's also on fire at the moment. He's been scoring lots of goals and a rich vein of form. So I think we are in for an entertaining afternoon. There's a nice big crowd building here as well, and a good atmosphere actually today. So we're looking forward to it.
And finally, Jason Pryor fit. You think that's key for the second half of the season?
Very, very. He is a target man without a shadow of doubt. His heading ability is second to none. Even from a defensive point of view, he's also very handy to have around. So he is obviously a bit of a talisman for us, and a very important player. And Alfie has been doing well up front, sort of pretty much flowing a lone furrow up there of late. Jason's had a few sort of, half hour, 1 hour appearances, but he's looking sharp today. So fingers crossed it's going to work out well.
Les, thanks for joining us. We'll hear half and full-time reports from Les Freeman, who's watching Dorking Wanderers this afternoon at home to Havant and Waterlooville in National League South. Both sides 7th and 6th, so it's a real big playoff battle today. Let's go back then to our feature commentary game from 3. Aldershot Town entertaining Woking. The team news is in the hands of Rob Worrell, and you were wondering whether there might be a little bit of COVID affection. How are things looking?
Well, I can see no Scott Wagstaff in the Aldershot squad at all. He did start the last game against Kingstonian. Largely, it's not too different. 4 changes for the Shots from the FA Trophy win, where, to be fair, they did play 1 or 2 players that weren't necessarily first choice. So it looks like this, Tim, with Laurie Walker in goal, of course, on loan from Wimbledon, not Mitch. And then 3 centre-backs. Giles Phillips comes straight back in for a start, having not had any competitive minutes, so that's an interesting one. He'll partner Corey Jordan and Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain in a 3 centre-back scenario. Lewis Kinsella, the skipper, will be raiding down the left wing-back, and Alfie Saunders on the right. Alfie Whittingham and Mo Silla, superb of late in the centre of midfield. Ryan Glover and Jacob Berkeley-Adjapong will spearhead the wide attack, with Corey Andrews down the middle. And John, you've got news of the Woking team, if you'd like to share that with the listeners.
Well, again, it looks like, thankfully, COVID hasn't affected the squad, and they'll be lining up again, I think, in a 3-5-2 formation. Obviously, Jermaine Anderson, well known to all Shots fans, he'll be out there playing today in the centre of midfield. And the big unknown is whether Josh Casey, who predominantly has been playing at left wing back, whether he'll actually start in centre midfield. But we won't really know until it gets going. Interesting that Ini Effiog has been recalled and he's playing up front with Tavron Campbell, and he's very much a player that Aldershot will need to keep a careful eye on. He's been the real shining light this season, so it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out, but it looks like Woking will be playing that 3-5-2 formation again.
Okay, nice one, John. Yeah, Tim, so that sets the scene. Both sides out doing their initial stretches and warm-ups at the moment, and as it would appear, not too badly affected. Just 1 or 2 absentees from the starting squads that we would have expected. And all set for another Boxing Day clash, and who knows which way this one's going to go.
Great stuff. So we'll have coming up in the half hour before kick-off, we'll hear from Ian Dyer. We'll hear from Mark Molesley. We'll hear again that great goal he scored famously to keep the Cards up on the penultimate day of the season against Woking. And we'll have all the build-up. We'll hear from Dorking Wanderers' Mark White ahead of kick-off in their game in National League South. And, of course, full live commentary on Aldershot Town Woking from 3. That'll be here on BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey online as well. You can go out, do some Boxing Day shopping. You can go for a walk with the dog. You can take us with you. Use the BBC Sounds app. Find the BBC Surrey or the BBC Sussex button on your wheel and on your phone, and you can hear us wherever you go. Then, of course, at 6 till 7, we look back on the sporting year, and then from 7, we begin the full build-up to the Albion against Brentford in the Premier League. 6 of the original 9 Premier League matches have survived today. So off, Liverpool, Leeds, Wolves, Burnley and Wolves, Watford and Burnley, Everton. From 3, leaders Manchester City could extend their 3-point advantage at the top if they can win against Leicester City at the Etihad. Leicester, of course, come into the game contending with several injuries, whilst others are missing due to COVID. Fox's boss Brendan Rodgers says games against City and then Liverpool in the space of 3 days could be damaging for his players, though.
To be playing, as you say, Manchester City on Sunday, and then to be playing Liverpool again on Tuesday, it's not good for the players. It's certainly their health and the welfare of them. It's not ideal.
Well, Crystal Palace go to Spurs. Palace have won just once away from home all season, but that was at the leaders Man City, of course. Palace manager Patrick Vieira says he loved the Christmas schedule as a player, but COVID-19 is making things much, much harder.
I used to love playing during this period, and we knew that it would be challenging, and we had to prepare ourselves the best way. But obviously, with the COVID situation, it makes things more difficult, more challenging.
That is Patrick Vieira. Well, elsewhere this afternoon in the Premier League, Arsenal 4th now. They travel to bottom of the table Norwich, who are now just 3 points adrift of safety. West Ham, who've only won once since drawing with Albion at the start of December, have slipped to 5th outside the 4 Champions League spots. They welcome Saints. At the 5:30 match, Chelsea away to Villa. Steven Gerrard, the Villa manager, missing the game after he tested positive for COVID. And of course, from 7 tonight, we'll bring all the build-up from the Amex Stadium with the Albion at home to promoted Brentford. The Seagulls 13th, Brentford a place higher in 12th. Albion head coach Graham Potter and admirer of the Bees coach Thomas Frank.
Thomas is really organised. The set plays are inventive, they make sense, they're dangerous. So, as a football team, I can completely understand why they've got 20 points. I'm not surprised because they've got the quality. And like I said, Thomas is a top coach.
Yeah, big game. All the build-up for you from 7, including Johnny Cantor looking back at his 3 favourite moments of the year. Kick-off at 8, and you can hear that here on BBC Radio Sussex and on BBC Radio Surrey. If you're an Albion fan living in the Surrey area, it's your lucky day. Cricket, I'm afraid England endured another torrid day as the 3rd Ashes Test went firmly in favour of Australia in Melbourne.
Lyon's about to run in and bowl down the pitch. He has a go at this. He's yanked it into the deep. He could be caught. He's out. He's holed out. Taken by Boland in the deep. Robinson is out. England all out for 185. And England's demise is complete.
Yes, in reply, Australia in good position, 61 for 1. The former Aussie bowler Glenn McGrath says England's batting again below par.
It's not a 185 pitch. I don't think there was that many demons in it. Tomorrow's a very important day, as we've said this whole series. If England have a bad day tomorrow, this series is well and truly gone.
Well, Australia will, of course, retain the Ashes if they avoid defeat. England wicketkeeper Johnny Bairstow says they'll at least take some encouragement from the pitch heading into tomorrow.
We've seen there as well, there's a little bit more inconsistent bounce this evening. Obviously, Marcus Harris got one on the glove there, and then the following ball didn't carry through to the keeper. So, look, we'll be looking to exploit those areas in the morning. The morning session will be a huge session, and let's see how we go.
Yes, the play getting underway, 4:30, something like that tomorrow morning. Big day for England. It looks like the Ashes, though, are gone. It's also one of the biggest racing days locally. The King George VI is back and with spectators at Kempton Park from 3:05. Our horse racing commentator John Hunt looks ahead.
The King George VI chase is quite rightly billed as the Midwinter Gold Cup, and trainer Paul Nicholls attempts an astonishing 13th win in the race with 2 key horses. Clandays Oboe attempts to join equine legends of the sport, Wayward Lad, Desert Orchid, and Corto Star in his quest to become a 3-time winner of the race. His stablemate Frodon won it last year and will be ridden again by Bryony Frost, who attempts to end a turbulent year on a high. The most likely obstacle in their way is last spring's Gold Cup winner from Cheltenham, Minella Indo, who will be ridden by Rachel Blackmore, newly crowned BBC's World Sports Star of the Year.
And we'll hear commentary on John Hunt with John Hunt on the King George. We'll play that at half-time for you in our feature game. Do not go away. Aldershot Woking coming up in the next couple of moments.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Travel.
Well, it hasn't been a great day for anyone on the M25, the arterial road, of course, carrying so many of you to and fro at Christmas. A breakdown, basically, heading clockwise at Cobham Services. So the slip road into the services is closed. Between junction 9 for Leatherhead and junction 10, the Wisley interchange turning, there's a lane closed there as well. There's also a breakdown on the M25 clockwise. That's from 10, the Wisley interchange, to 12 for the M3. Queues and long delays there. It's taking around 25 minutes to get through there at the moment. That is clockwise. Things seem to have cleared up a little bit anti-clockwise from earlier, so that's the good news. In Helsham, an accident involving 2 cars has been reported on the B2104 near Saltmarsh Lane. And on public transport, reduced service across the network on Avanti West Coast because of a shortage of train crews this afternoon.
BBC Radio Surrey. Yes, it is Derby Day at the Recreation Ground, the EBB Stadium, the home, of course, of Aldershot Town. We're going to go back to our commentator and summariser, John Moore and Rob Worrell, in a moment's time. But let's hear from Ian Dyer, the Woking assistant manager. I've been asking him what he's made of their opening 5 months. They've had some really big wins, 8 of them, but 11 defeats, leaving them 14th in the table.
I think overall we're probably a few points off where we probably should be. In the next 3 games, we'll be at exactly the halfway stage. So I guess there won't be a better time to kind of judge where we're at than after kind of Aldershot twice and Dover. I think that will probably give a much clearer picture on the first half of the season as a whole. But yeah, certainly for my mind, we're probably a couple of points down on what we feel we should be based on the games we've played. There's, I can think back off the top of my head on a few games that we should be accumulating points in, the likes of Grimsby's and Eastleigh's and Maidenhead and Barnet. The frustration is in those particular games, among 1 or 2 others, that we've almost given games away. I don't think we've been beaten convincingly by anyone. And it's something certainly we've talked about and need to make sure that we put right in terms of eradicating individual mistakes. And, I think our points tally would be slightly healthier than it is. But that being said, there's a lot of football to be played, especially this kind of busy period. I think the table can look particularly different at the turn of the year if you can get a good run of results together and accumulate some points during this spell. So we're very much focused on doing that. And I guess our next kind of time to reflect will be at the halfway point. And if we can get to 22 games and be in a healthier position than we are now, then I think it will be kind of a positive thing moving forward into the new year.
Because obviously I came up and saw you, didn't I, in the summer with the new full-time schedule, how impressive it is up there in Tolworth. Has the full-time thing put a little pressure on you guys? Do you reflect on that? Or you did make a lot of team changes, didn't you, to bring in new players? I mean, letting all that bed in, again, assessing the almost first half, how do you feel it's been, and has it been more pressure? I
wouldn't say more pressure. No, I think we were always going to have to be a little bit realistic, with what we expected first year. And, we did, like you said, we made a lot of changes in the summer, both on and off the pitch. A new backroom staff almost being put together in terms of new people coming in and kind of a brand new playing squad. Obviously some players that were either returning or were being kept on, but it was always going to take a little bit of time. And I think we saw some really good early signs. But I also feel, as a lot of teams in this league, every team has that little bit of a run where maybe things aren't clicking. Maybe, you're on the wrong side of one or two results that you should be getting better out of. And that's happened to us at the moment. And, it's something we need to make sure that we turn around quickly. We do have a small squad. Probably the one thing that we've been disappointed with is that lack of consistency. We certainly saw it early on in the season. So we know that the group's a good group and a committed group. But we've been too inconsistent. And I think that's probably the key word, that if we can put that right in the second half of the season and certainly over this Christmas period, then we can start to look up again and certainly turn the season into a really positive one.
That's the working assistant manager, Ian Dyer. We're going to hear from the Aldershot Town manager, Mark Molesey, in a moment's time. But we are going to pay tribute now to Marvin Morgan, a legend, played for both clubs, of course. Sad, he passed away at the age of just 38 a few weeks ago. 10 goals in 42 matches for the Cards before going on to join Aldershot Town under Gary Waddock for their debut season, of course, in the Football League, netting 25 goals in 93 appearances for them.
Over the ball, takes a deflection, and it's gone in! Aldershot Town have equalised here at the Ricoh Arena, and Marvin Morgan is getting the congratulations. His first goal for Aldershot Town, and once again it's a Scott Donnelly free kick. It is the undoing of a Football League team. Breaks the swords and pulls it back, and Aldershot Town have taken the lead. Marvin Morgan with his first league goal for the Shots. Right-footed towards the back post, up goes Morgan, and it's into the back of the net. Morgan with his second league goal on consecutive Saturdays. A perfectly flighted corner from Donnelly. A perfect leap and header from Marvin Morgan. His third goal of the season.
That's Marvin Morgan. Commentary there from Gavin Dennison. You may recognise that voice. We had Tony Sharp earlier in the show. The new Doctor Who reincarnation, of course, for the last few seasons, Rob Worrell. Well, Morgan ran a teenage fashion brand after he retired from football and was an anti-racism campaigner as well. He played under Gary Waddock while at the Shots. Our reporter Adrian Harms spoke to Gary earlier this month.
I'm just shocked. I was devastated with the news, and it's so sad for, Marv to have, at 38 to not be around. He was just a great guy, in the dressing room with the players. Big personality, big character. Got on with everybody, had a smile, on his face, had a great smile. He was just infectious around the place. Everybody's enthusiasm for the game, just such a shame. He brought so much to the club as a person, not his playing ability, just as a person,
Just tell us about his playing ability, Gary, because he was at Woking and you signed him at that time for a record fee for Aldershot Town. What was it about him as a player that made you want to sign him?
He was just a handful. He was a presence, both on and off the pitch. He gave us something different within our team. For such a big man, his touch and, his awareness, running ability, he gave us so much more than what we had within the group, and he improved the group as a player and obviously as a person as well.
And they were heady days for Aldershot Town, Gary, because they were back in the Football League after goodness knows how many years, and he played in that first game back in the Football League at Accrington Stanley, which the Shots won as well.
Yeah, that was a great day, great memory for everybody associated with with the club, and none more so than the players and Marvin as well. To get that victory on that first day back in the Football League was a fantastic achievement by them. But his career in itself, he had a very, very good career. And obviously, after his career had finished, he's establishing himself in a different field, and he was doing extremely well there as well.
And that was something that he'd spoken about when he was at Aldershot, Gary. This wanting to move into the fashion business and launching, Fresh Ego Kids. Was that something that you knew about? That he spoke to you about?
No, he didn't speak to me about it, but the players were obviously aware of it, and it was a dream for him, and he fulfilled that dream by doing that. It's just a real shame what's happened for Marv, for his family, and obviously his friends. And our thoughts are with him and his family, and all of his friends. And he's got thousands upon thousands, that the people that he knows, and touch people's hearts along the journey that he was on.
Well, lovely to hear the voice of Gary Watt again, but in sad circumstances, discussing, of course, the great career of Marvin Morgan, who played for both Woking and Aldershot. John Moore, Rob Worrell listening to that. John Moore, he began, not his football career, but he was at Woking before Aldershot Town, of course, as a non-league player, and then got the big move. Tell us about his time at the Cards.
Woking signed him from Hayes and Yedding, and he immediately endeared himself to Woking fans, scoring a fantastic solo goal in the first game of the season against Rushton, and he never looked back. He was big and strong, a real handful, and of course he got his move to Aldershot deservedly at the end of that season and cleaned up, won all the awards, and as I say, he was only with Woking for one season, but he was a very, very popular figure both on and off the pitch.
Well, the fans loved him, didn't they?
Absolutely, because there weren't a lot of excitement at Woking at that time, let's be honest. And he came in as an unknown quantity, and he immediately hit the ground running. He gave his all, and as I say, he was such an endearing character, both on and off the pitch. And I just was in shock when I read the news. I really, really was.
And Rob, you knew him at Aldershot. I met him many times for interviews. Charming young man. I mean, really polite. Could be funny, could be quite serious, but a great footballer.
Yeah, wonderful. My own memory was the very first time I was ever attached to a microphone. He scored a beautiful curl winner at Oxford, and I think I screamed all over Gav's commentary. But talking of Gav Dennison, my mentor, of course, I thought his tribute is lovely. Just very briefly from today's match programme. He said, I was lucky enough to be reporting for BBC Radio Surrey on a pre-season friendly at Basingstoke when marvellous Marvin Morgan pulled on a working shirt for the first time. On a sunny July afternoon in 2007, he scored after the sort of rampaging, barnstorming, limbs-flailing run that would become his trademark. And it was a feat he repeated on his league debut at home to Rushton and Diamonds in the following month. He said, what Marvin Morgan achieved off the pitch is an enormous part of his lasting part of his legacy, but for fans of Woking and Aldershot Town, his on-pitch talent and passion mean he will live in our memories long past his tragically early passing.
Lovely. Gavin Dennison writing in the Shots Match Day programme. Well, to the present day, our thoughts with Marvin Morgan's family, and I'm sure he'll be looking down today, interested and probably impartial for both clubs. Rob, your great description, please. Quick 30 seconds how the East Bank's looking. And for a lot of people won't know what I mean by the East Bank. Tell us about the history and what it looks like, and about these incredible flags they have there.
Yeah, amazing. It's full. There's very, very few tickets left, if any at all, now for the East Bank. You've got flags in the little no man's land section. A really, really good, healthy Woking following as well behind the goal over to the far side, and a couple of sections of Shots fans. It's filling up nicely. The atmosphere's only just starting to build. Maybe the fans just going through their warm-ups now. Hopefully you can pick them up a little bit on the sound effects microphone. There is a little bit of tension about. Some of that is to do with current form from the Woking fans' point of view. You've got the whole COVID scenario as well. People are feeling their way a little bit, but more than anything this afternoon, Tim, I think there's just relief that this date has come. The game's going to kick off, and we've got fans in the stadium at Aldershot v Woking for the first time in 3 seasons.
Wonderful stuff. In a sentence, John Moore, we spoke about the marvellous Marvin Morgan. Tavon Campbell as a Woking potential cult hero. He's had a great start to the season, hasn't he? He needs to fire if the Cards are going to be involved in the top 7 this season, or continue to fire.
Yeah, very much so. He's an exciting player. He can create opportunities out of nothing. He's an excellent finisher, and he really is, if he's on his game, a player that Aldershot need to watch very, very carefully.
Wonderful stuff. Well, we're going to hear from both Mark Molesley, the manager at Aldershot, and the assistant manager Ian Dyer in a moment's time ahead of the derby. But let's quickly drop in again, of course, on the local game. National South. Dorking Wanderers desperate to be in with Woking and Aldershot Town in the top flight of non-league next season. They were top when COVID hit there, Parkside a decade ago. Remarkable story. But Mark White and his side have got themselves back in the top 7 after an injury-ravished start to the season.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Travel.
We're well aware of the magnitude of the game around and what it means to the fans. I think for us, we've got to keep a clear head and complete clarity on that it's another game for us. It's full focus to it. We'll give it everything we've got, but we've got to be clear in our processes. We've got to execute our game plan, and it's a time for a cool head from everyone around it, because we know how important this game is to everyone. But we're well aware of that, and we'll be doing everything we can to get the win.
And you'll go into that game unbeaten in 6 now in all competitions. And just what sort of a difference does that make in the camp amongst the players? Obviously you don't want any complacency, but can you feel the confidence building amongst the group?
Yeah, definitely. I think the confidence and the belief is getting there. I think the boys are understanding their roles and responsibilities more and more each game. And we've also had a little bit of a scare as well, so there shouldn't be no complacency. People shouldn't be complacent, because 1, it's a huge game, and 2, there's a lot of players to come back in as well. So it isn't a threat or to scare anyone or anything like that. But football's a tough game, and you've got to be on your mettle all the time. And we're well aware of the magnitude of the game, but we're going to have to keep a cool, calm head and make sure that we stick to our processes.
And just thinking back to those games in the past between Aldershot and Woking that you played in, and you scored key goals in, some special memories for you two.
Yeah, without a doubt, some fantastic memories of playing in a game. It was a big game at the time. One, obviously springs to mind, and it was a great moment, and one I cherish and remember forever. And the players can have that same feeling that I've had as well.
Well, we got that in. That was Mark Molesley. I don't know what happened to Mark White, but that was Mark Molesley. So, full live commentary on Aldershot Town against Woking coming up for you. The Woking manager, of course, Alan Dowson. We heard already, if you missed it, John Katz, the majority shareholder of Woking, saying Dowse is going nowhere. He's our man to lead us into the Football League. Well, there has been a bit of pressure on the Cards after 11 defeats this season, but I've been speaking to Ian Dyer ahead of this one, ahead of meeting, of course, a side like Aldershot Town in a local derby, and asked him about what they expect being 14th in the table, what they need to do this season.
It's always kind of that halfway stage is quite a good gauge of where everyone is, because everyone's kind of played everyone at that point. I think we had a particularly tough start to the season in terms of the fixture list. We've played pretty much everyone that's in the top 12. And like you say, our next run of games is maybe teams that haven't fared so well, but you can only kind of judge them on the day. I think it's a relentless league. I think you look at Dover's last couple of results, and only losing 1-0 to Wrexham to a late goal. They've got a draw against Yeovil. And that's a team that's kind of cut adrift at the bottom, and that's how competitive they are. So we've got to make sure we don't take our eye off the ball and expect results in any game. We've got to earn the right to do that. And, I think if you can look at Aldershot's run recently from where they were 6 games ago to where they were now, it just shows at any point a club can get on that little bit of a run and gain some momentum, and we'll certainly be hoping to do that.
I'm going to ask, are you playing them at the wrong time? Mark's really got them playing now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Credit to them that they were in a pretty dark place. I would imagine probably 6 or 7 games ago, and didn't probably know where the next result was coming from. But listen, credit to the manager and credit to the group of players there. They've turned a bit of a corner. I've watched several of their games recently, and what they are is 100% committed to to what they're trying to do. And I've seen that with the games I've watched from them. So you can only have respect for a team that's gone unbeaten in 6. And it poses a challenge for us. We're going there obviously on slightly different form, but as they say, the old cliche kind of form goes out the windows in the derbies. And we've made sure that our players are fully aware of how important these games are over Christmas, not just because we need to get a little run of wins together, but because it is Aldershot and there's obviously the history, and it's something that fans are really looking for us to come and win. So the players are fully aware of that, and we also know it's going to be a challenge going there Boxing Day and trying to get 3 points, but one that we're really relishing.
A different personnel, as you say, for the Cards this season, but you did beat them in the FA Cup last season, which I think got a bit of a monkey off the club's back, didn't it, you and Douse?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, it was a good result for us at the time. And obviously, we were then disappointed with the games around Christmas time. We were probably favourites for those games based on where we were in the league at the time. And it just shows kind of that form book that can be flipped on its head. We're hoping to obviously do the same this year. But yeah, it's always great to go in there. Unfortunately, last year there were no fans at any of the games, which made it difficult. And, certainly that's something that we're all looking forward to, playing in front of a packed crowd, both home and away. But obviously we're aware of the record down the years. That's something obviously that we've not been involved with all of those games, but something that obviously is a motivation for us to try and change that trend and make Woking the top dogs in the area. But, credit to Aldershot down the years. They've obviously had our number, and it's always a tough game. All derbies are tough games, and it's about doing what we can to make sure that we turn that form book and we come out on the right side of the game.
Finally, a packed EBB stadium. Your record of late, there's pressure like in any game, but if you could get a win on Boxing Day, it could be a pivotal moment, couldn't it?
It could be, yeah, it could be. I think we've got to be of the mindset of taking one game at a time at the moment. That's always kind of the way we look at things, and I don't think you can ever get too far ahead of yourselves, but we're certainly looking at this game as one we need to go in and we need a response in terms of the performance. It was a pretty good performance down at Yeovil up until 80 minutes, and unfortunately with the injuries that we sustained, we got a bit disjointed and lost the game. But a lot of what we saw there was positive, and if we can take that sort of mentality forward into this Christmas period, then we give ourselves a great chance. But no, it's going to be a fantastic occasion. I think having both sets of fans there, I'm sure we're travelling numbers as well. It's going to be loud. The atmosphere is going to be fantastic, and the players are thoroughly looking forward to that. And like I said, we're up for the challenge. We understand probably to the outside world that if they look at the form book at the moment, that Aldershot potentially will go in as favourites for that game. And we want to try and change that mentality and make sure we come out of that and we give our fans something to really shout about.
It's the big local derby in the National Conference. Aldershot Town at home to Woking. Your commentary team, John Moore, alongside Rob Worrell.
A very good afternoon and a warm welcome on Boxing Day, Sunday, to the EBB in North East Hampshire, home of Aldershot Town, where Aldershot Town against Woking in front of fans is indeed alive and kicking. The song that you might very well be able to hear in the background. It normally means one thing here, that the teams are imminent. John alongside me, a really healthy crowd in. We think probably nearer the 3 than the 4, but certainly looking away to our left at the East Bank end as the floodlights come on. It makes for a decent atmosphere, doesn't it?
Very much so, Rob, and it is good to see a healthy following of Woking fans jam-packed into that area to the side of the goal. And from a Woking perspective, let's hope they've got something to cheer about this afternoon, because certainly the build-up to this game hasn't been the best.
No, Aldershot started the season wretchedly and have turned it round under Mark Molesley. Unbeaten in 6 now, 5 wins out of that 6, and Woking, well, it's kind of flipped, really. They had a great start. I remember them beating 3 or 4 of the top 5 teams in a row, and then it's all unravelled a little bit from there. Is it easy to put your finger on why?
Yeah, giving away soft goals, bad goals at bad times.
Here come the sides. Aldershot Town led out by Lewis Kinsella. Woking led out by Josh Casey, who of course was a former Aldershot Town youth player, started his career here.
And Woking in blue shirts, black shorts and black socks. Aldershot in their traditional home kit of red shirts and red socks, but with red shorts as well today. And Lewis Kinsella holding up a shirt with a tribute to the sadly now resting in peace Marvin Morgan.
Yeah, very appropriate. And there's also going to be a minute's applause at the 10-minute mark as well, which I hope both sets of supporters will honour.
Yeah, flags unveiled in the East Bank away to our left. The next target, and the red and blue snipers have got their guns pointed at the moment. They're pointed across to the other end of the East Bank where the Woking faithful, the majority of them are housed. The slab area between there and the final section of the South Stand is empty, but then there's another 50, 60 or so Woking fans in that final section.
Just to say that slab end or side bit,
Yeah.
I've got happy memories of standing on there when Giuseppe Sol scored that epic free kick in the 1-0 win. One of the few that Woking have enjoyed, I have to say, over the years. So you tend to cherish them.
Yeah, I think we're very shortly going to pay a little bit of tribute to Marvin Morgan prior to the kick-off. And as John Moore alongside me says, I'm Rob Worrell, by the way, that we'll also pay tribute. You'll hear applause in the 10th minute for Marvin Morgan as well. But for now, referee Daniel Middleton will move to the edge, and you may listen to the announcement.
United in sadness and shock at the sudden passing of former player Marvin Morgan at the age of 38 on the 6th of December. Marvin joined Woking from Yeading in 2007 before moving on to Aldershot Town upon their promotion into the Football League in 2008. A popular player at both Kingfield and the Edge Stadium, Marvin also always had a ready smile on his face and a playing style that endeared him to supporters of both clubs. After leaving the shops, Marvin went on to enjoy a successful career in the Football League with the likes of Shrewsbury Town, Plymouth Argyle and Hartlepool United, before returning to the non-league circle. Outside of football, Marvin had forged a successful career in the fashion industry with his Fresh Ego kit label and the formation of Fresh Ego FC to raise awareness of the issues surrounding mental health and racism. Marvin lives with his partner Jerry and his 7-year-old son, and our thoughts remain with them and all of his family and friends at this sad time. This afternoon, Aldershot Town and Woking stand together to remember Marvin, and we would like to invite all supporters to join us in a minute's applause in his memory, which will start and end on the referee's whistle.
Welcome to the EBB. We're paying tribute now with a minute's applause to Marvin Morgan, if you've just joined us, who wore the colours of Woking and Aldershot Town. Rest in peace, Marvin Morgan. And John, very quickly before we run through the teams, a moment of tremendous unity between everybody involved with both clubs.
Absolutely, very emotional, very heartfelt. Just summed up what Marvin Morgan meant to both of these clubs.
Okay, the sides as Aldershot take their formation. And Woking are in a huddle at the moment. Aldershot Town line up as follows: Laurie Walker in goal. A back three of Giles Phillips straight back into the side with no competitive minutes under his belt. Corey Jordan and Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain. Lewis Kinsella, the skipper, at left wing back. Alfie Saunders at right wing back. My goodness me, made his debut 5-6 games ago, and now he's in a Boxing Day derby. Mo Siller and Whittingham in the centre of midfield for the shots. Jacob Berkeley-Adjupong and Ryan Glover either side of Corey Andrews. Players from both sides take the knee. and the Woking side will get John Moore to keep a close eye on their formation. We think that Josh Casey may start in the midfield. It certainly looks that way. Craig Ross in goal, a back three of Annesley, McNerney and Champion. Kretschmar, Anderson and Casey in midfield. Johnson and Block wide, Effiong and Campbell pushing up top. And the ball is cleared away by Giles Phillips, headed back in by Jermaine Anderson, playing against his former club. And Jermaine Anderson had the biggest say in this match last season, John. 2 goals in the red and blue of Aldershot Town, and now he's changed colours.
He has indeed, and hasn't played very much for Woking, but I know certainly when he was trialling he was very, very impressive. And obviously I saw the game here, and he was the best player on the pitch for Aldershot that day, no two ways about it.
Here on the left hand side comes Tyreke Johnson. The ball's poked into play. We've got an early goal in our other featured game this afternoon. Dorking have taken the lead against Havant. Cross comes in from the left, and it's half cleared. There may be a shot coming from distance here. It skids into the ground, and then it is taken down low to his left by Laurie Walker. John, did you see who got the shot away?
I think it was Campbell. It was Effiong who was causing a problem with his height and strength in the air, and that's something Woking need to try and capitalise on. Need to get the ball to Effiong. He's not the best at hold-up play, but he is a threat in the air, so you need to get around him.
Scored, of course, in these matches as Effiong, and Tavan Campbell, well, he won't need too many chances today. First little sniff of goal there from him. He's on the ball again now, just inside the Aldershot Town half. On this occasion, he plays it back to the evergreen, shall I call him, Tom Champion. I remember watching him play in the shirt of Cambridge United at least 10 years ago. And he was ever present in that Cambridge United side that got promoted to the Football League. Ball over the top from Woking, 2 straight and all the way through to Laurie Walker. And Aldershot, one thing I didn't mention, kicking towards the community stand at the High Street end this afternoon. There's another ball over the top. That one's headed into touch by Louis Annesley. A first attacking throw of the afternoon for the Shots. We're 2 minutes in, it's goalless. You're listening to BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey Sports Special. 8 hours this afternoon, the first 4 of them dedicated to this game. And then later on, they'll be focusing on the Brighton game with Johnny Cantor, Warren Aspinall and Adrian Harms. Throw-ins to be taken by Alfie Saunders. Lining up to take it a little bit long in towards the edge of the area. It goes a little bit higher than perhaps it should have done. And Corey Jordan can't get the contact he wants. It goes behind, goal kick. And the early posturing from both sides has seen the defences come out on top, John.
Yeah, very much so. It's been a sort of nervy start. Both teams trying to feel their way into this game. As I said before the match started, Casey is in fact in midfield. With Tyreke Johnson playing the wing-back role on this left-hand side, Tommy Block doing likewise on the right-hand side.
Here's Effiong coming onto a loose ball. Kinsella just beats him to it. Agyapong is onto the loose ball. He plays it back to Jordan. Jordan to Oxlade-Chamberlain. Not the best touch, but he recovers quickly. Plays it back to Laurie Walker, who goes up towards Ryan Glover on halfway. Glover jumps early, but can't hang long enough. The Woking contact comes in. That goes out for a throw. And would you believe, at Dorking, it's now 2-0 against Havant and Waterlooville. I know Alfie Rutherford got the first goal. He's in great form. So a cracking start for Dorking this afternoon in National League South. Header down the line, Glover wins that one in the air, and McNerney just beats Andrews to it. This is a big game for Corey Andrews. He's got goals in him, he's got composure, but he's still learning the game, John, and he does tend to get a little bit out now, especially by big, strong, physical defenders, and first indication of that there. Here comes Annesley, the left of the 3 centre-backs. Good build-up down the left for Woking. Kretschmar plays it on down the line. Cross comes in, and it bounces once into the grateful clutches of Laurie Walker. He's now going to kick out of his hands. Andrews will chase that one down. It should go all the way through to Craig Ross, and it does. 4.5 minutes gone here at the EBB Stadium, and 1 or 2 people can't find seats, which is not a scenario we face here too often, John.
No, there's one next to me.
Shh, keep it under your hat. Right, goal kick from Ross. 5 minutes past very, very soon. Here's a lovely touch from Glover. Finds Whittingham, who's quickly dispossessed by Anderson. He feeds Kretschmar. Kretschmar is dispossessed by Mo Silla. somebody to look out for in the red and blue of Aldershot Town today. French, barely speaks a word of English, John, but he understands the game of football.
It's good from a Woking perspective to see the wing back on this left-hand side trying to get forward as much as possible. You know, it's so important when you play three at the back that your wing backs press on, otherwise it ends up a 5 and you end up retreating and losing the advantage.
Right, it's a choice of Champion and McNerney here. Which one of them steps onto the loose ball just to keep possession for Woking after a ball forward was easily cut out? And then on the ball is that man Jermaine Anderson. Not the best first touch from him, had to recover a little bit and then ends up rushing his pass out to the right hand side. 5.5 minutes gone. You're listening to Rob Worrell and John Moore here on the Boxing Day derby. Hampshire v Surrey, Aldershot v Woking, Shots v Cards, and a healthy crowd in here at the EBB Stadium for this one, as we get the play underway again from a throw down the line from Kinsella, and Woking win a lot of the 50-50 early balls in the air. As a ball chipped forward, Effiong will chase. Jordan just shepherds it, does have enough pace on it to go behind the goal. On the Woking side of the East Bank, Walker himself will recover the possession, and yeah, they won't sell more tickets than there are seats, but just now one or two people probably thinking they can plonk themselves down where they want, and others saying, no, that's my seat. Doesn't happen too often. It's a nice problem to have, John.
It is, and you know this ground very well. Rob, what do you reckon the attendance is here today?
Well, I'm now recalculating. Like you, before the game, I did think less than 3,000, maybe 2,700, 2,800. Looking around, wondering if it might be nearer 3,500, but it's so difficult to tell. It has been over the years. Sometimes 1,500 and 2,500 feel the same, you know. Good block from Glover, and initially they're cancelling each other out, the two teams. It is a throw to Woking, but it's not where Tyreeki Johnson wants to take it from. He's being sent back by referee Daniel Middleton. His stats, by the way, 12 games in the National League this year, 51 yellows, so just over 4 a game, and 4 red cards. So he's not frightened to get the cards out, that's for sure. But so far it's been a good honest effort from both sides, neither of them being able to settle into much pattern of play. Here's Anderson playing the ball now out to the right hand side, where it's picked up by Tommy Block. He'll look to try and beat Kinsella, he can't, but the cross deflects off Kinsella into the path of Anderson, and back to Champion, who now gives it back to Block, who'll start again, tries the 1-2, doesn't quite come off, but Kretschmar's managed to force the ball back to to Champion, who gives it to McNerney. And Woking seeing plenty of the early possession and territory just inside the Aldershot half. They try a cross from deep, and Effiong's up, but he can't get any power on it. He did beat Oxlade Chamberlain, and it'd be interesting to see if Woking do have the lion's share of territory and possession, because Aldershot just recently, John, have been setting up to try and hit teams on the counter-attack, even in home matches, and that's partly become through the adversity of having so many players out injured and trying to be resolute, resilient.
Yeah, and at the moment, you know, Woking very much taking the game to Aldershot, aren't they? They're on the front foot, they're knocking it around, passing it from side to side, trying to get those wing backs forward.
It's Alfie Rutherford who's got both of those Dorking goals. Other goals in the National League, tell you about them, well, now actually, as Alfie Saunders heads into touch. Stockport 1, Altrincham 0. Sarcevic, a former Bolton player, giving County the lead on 4 minutes, and it's Dover 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 1 on 10 minutes. Here at the EBB, it's Shots 0, Cards 0. We're approaching the 9-minute mark. Woking having plenty of the early possession. Anderson goes down the right hand side, can't beat his man, and then the ball finally comes off of Giles Phillips, and it'll be a Woking throw. A bit of a 50-50. The officials kind of agree with each other, but it was a bit hesitant, wasn't it?
It was one of those ones where you're never quite sure, and not helped by players from both sides appealing.
Normally they would go the way of the defensive side when it's 50-50, but it has gone to Woking. Tommy Block will take it inside to Anderson. Again, not the best touch from Anderson, but Block does brilliant to keep it in and turn his man and get away, and now he's going to run into the path of Lewis Kinsella. Well, the referee had a few choices there. Foul on Kinsella, goal kick, corner, whatever you like. In the end, they've just given goal kick, and probably the right decision.
Yeah, but good to see Tommy Block bombing on down that right-hand side, because, you know, it's very important that you try and keep Kinsella occupied, that you stop him getting forward. and supporting the attack.
Yeah, Tommy Block now in his second season, of course, for Woking, joined from Hibs. He was an academy graduate though, and he then went off to Bognor. Hibs, and a free kick to Aldershot is given against McNerney, and this occasion and Andrews getting the better certainly of the decision.
Yeah, it was one of those 50-50s really, but referee's given it in Aldershot's favour, so it's an opportunity for them to load it into the box, test Woking out, because Woking defensively from set plays hasn't been great, and it should be a lot better given the size of the team.
Yeah,
I see no Diarra in there, but you've still got tall players like Ainsley and Joe McNerney.
Yeah, a few tall players from shots up there, Corey Jordan and Mo Silla. Cross comes in from Kinsella. He's headed away by Annesley and headed on by Kretschmar, but that will only run into the path of Alfie Whittingham, who's been in great form of late, the best form of his career for sure. 3 goals in 5 games recently, a couple of those winners. In the end, they go all the way back to Laurie Walker, and Alfie Saunders plays it forward looking for Andrews, but Glover gets there first. Not great contact from him, but Annesley takes no chances and sends the ball back into touch, where the ball's spent plenty of time in these opening few minutes or so. Saunders will restart play with a throw for Aldershot just in front of us here. Down the line, easy one for Annesley. He can volley that one forward. Annesley on loan from Blackburn Rovers, 21 years old, extended to January now. A Gibraltar international as Aldershot poke the ball in touch on halfway, John.
Yeah, and he's a player who can play in defence and also in midfield, and it's good to see him in the side, because what he does do is give you some pace at the back.
Yeah, height, pace, and some good contact on the ball so far as well. He goes back across this time rather than to Johnson, who he explains why he didn't pass to him. And here they come on the right hand side. Anderson into Campbell to Tommy Block. Campbell goes for the follow-up ball and chips it inside of his defender Corey Jordan, who runs along with him, and then has a high five or a low five with Giles Phillips as the little trick from Campbell doesn't come off. But Tarvin Campbell, 13 goals in all competitions, 12 in the National League, 3rd top scorer. Only Michael Cheek and Kabongo Shimanga have got more goals than Tarvin Campbell, and my goodness me, he's going to be so key in the second half of the season if Woking are going to make a resurgence up the table. But where would they be without his goals in the first half of the season, John?
I shudder to think.
McNerney jumps over Andrews, who holds his position, thinks he's fouled, and he isn't. Play on from the throw. Andrews takes it down again, and he's a little bit worried about Johnson coming in, and it's out for a Woking throw.
And at the moment, Woking are doing well. They're not giving Aldershot any time on the ball. They're playing a high line, and they're getting about Aldershot and forcing them into errors.
Casey with the throw down the line. Oxlade-Chamberlain heads it away. Anderson plays it forward. It'll find touch. We'll have another throw. And up at Edgeley Park, Stockport County are still hungry this Christmas. 3-0 against Altrincham now, starting to go through the gears. Ominous for some of the rest of the teams chasing that precious title. Former Aldershot Town assistant manager James Rowe, one of those with his Chesterfield side. Ball's in touch again, this time it's a throw to Woking. We're approaching the 14-minute mark here at the EBB. It's Aldershot Town 0, Woking 0. You're listening to John Moore alongside me and myself, Rob Worrell, on BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey, where we've got an 8-hour sports special. This is the first half of it, Aldershot against Woking. Saunders volleys away over his head. Silla just beats Anderson, but the ball runs free to Annesley. He chips the ball over the top, and Oxlade-Chamberlain wins that. Alfie Whittingham puts the high foot up. He gets hold of the ball and doesn't make contact with the Woking player's head, but because the Woking player dipped his head in, I think it was maybe Kretschmar, the referee's given the free kick, John.
Yeah, well, you see them given, dangerous play, whether it is or not. is open to debate, but it does give Woking a chance.
Ironically, it's the player putting his head there against the high boot that is causing the danger, but he gets the sympathy, doesn't
not
it?
only that, Rob, but what are you supposed to do when the ball's at that height? You know, you've got to challenge for it, otherwise you've got the manager.
Ball in from Kretschmar to the far post, half-headed away. I think it's going to drift out of play. Cheers have come from the East Bank, which suggests that the referee now does confirm it's a goal kick to Aldershot. So no doubts, John. Quarter of an hour gone. Woking shading the territory and the possession, but equally Aldershot haven't been ripped open and they look pretty resolute.
Yeah, they do. It's it's a tight affair. From a Woking perspective, as I say, it's encouraging that they're getting forward and they're getting bodies forward, but they've yet to create any opportunities whatsoever. Aldershot still feeling their way into the game. You know, they're a very young side, so it probably is going to take them a while to settle down. They won't have played in front of this sort of size crowd either, this sort of atmosphere.
Here's Kretschmar trying a ball over the top to Effiong, but it doesn't come off, and sort of wry smile as he realises so. Aldershot's general approach in recent games, even the one at Eastleigh, was 0-0 after an hour. Find your feet, stay in the game early on, be nice and resolute, take chances maybe later in the game when the game opens up a little bit. Effiong, little flick round the corner with his heel, but there's no one behind him. Saunders forward to Andrews, who again is battling, and Champion almost misses his touch, going back to Craig Ross and loses out to a combination of Agyapong and Glover, and then Glover gives it straight away to that man, Champion, who gets an early opportunity to make up. Rare poor touch there for Champion, or I would assume so for someone experienced. You may tell me different.
Well, yeah, it wasn't the best, was it? And they nearly got caught out, and it was nearly another one of those goals that I mentioned before, individual errors. Luckily, he managed to regain the ball, but it was a nervy moment from a Woking perspective. It really, really was. And Tom Champion, he's got loads of experience, and that's exactly what you don't want to do early in a game, because you start giving your opponents a bit of hope.
Goal kick flicked on by Effiong. Could have gone through to the keeper, but Phillips clears it forward, loses it, and now Mo Silla picks it up. Tries a little ball over the top looking for Andrews, but McNerney very well positioned again. And he's certainly, it's an intriguing battle this afternoon, that one of McNerney and Andrews. Ball's in touch, and the referee's going to give a throw in to Aldershot. It's taken early down the line. Andrews trying to get onto it. He does bring it down, tries to play it inside, but again McNerney gets the better of him eventually. Plays it forward. Corey Jordan heads it on. Surely a shove in the back from Johnson, not spotted. It was subtle by the referee. Silla finds Agyapong, who tries to get a pass away, but it's blocked. And now out to the left-hand side where Kinsella gets it, but he's going to have to go backwards. He turns and he just gets a little nudge from behind, and a free kick to Aldershot, one of those that Kinsella so often wings. He takes the early ball. Not sure if he was looking for an Aldershot player or looking to hit it against the Woking player, if I'm really honest. But it's picked up by Johnson, who exchanges passes with Annesley. 18 minutes gone, goalless in the Hampshire-Surrey derby. There's good work from Effiong, outpacing his man, and then a really critical touch from Oxlade Chamberlain. Just pokes it back towards his keeper, but it wasn't a back pass, and Walker picks it up. Oxlade Chamberlain again with the ball into Saunders, who just a little bit edgy, just releases the ball too soon before he could be sure it was going to go to a red shirt, and it wasn't. It went to a blue. Here's Tommy Block with a deep cross. Laurie Walker should come and collect that. He does, and we are halfway through the first half here at the EBB. Aldershot Town 0, Woking 0, and anything Stockport can do in the National League, 3-0 up against Dorking can do one division lower in the National League South. Dorking 3, Havant and Waterlooville 0. 19 minutes gone here. Walker's still got the ball. He's just dribbling it to the edge of his area now, and Aldershot going to go long. It's always going to be a difficult one for them to win. McNerney jumps over Andrews and wins it, and then Whittingham looks to poke the ball into Glover. Aldershot almost need to counter, don't they, because any long balls forward, Woking are going to be favourites every time.
Yeah, they are, and Joe McNerney has had a few iffy moments really this season, and he's struggled somewhat, so it's good to see him start so well and being imposing.
Yeah. Joe McNerney, of course, another one of those players who started his career at Woking and has come back. It's a recurring theme. There's a ball over the top from Casey, And what do you make of his first 20 minutes in central midfield? Is it a position he's played much before for the Cards?
No, not at all. First time, I think, was the last game in the trophy against Yeovil.
Any idea what the thinking might be?
Because there's no Rowan Ince today. Wabuke is obviously still injured or feeling something because he's on the bench, and so, you know, Woking have had to shuffle the pack around, and Rowan Ince is a big miss for the Cards because he's been really one of their standout players so far this season.
Well, there's probably only really Jermaine Anderson who's played with any regularity at championship level. You know, in terms of the players that are out there this afternoon. Scott Wagstaff not in the Aldershot Town squad. We don't know more about that. He did play the last game, not aware that he picked up an injury. So that may be illness related. We shall find out when we can find out. Again, McNerney gets something on it, but the ball to beat Andrews, but ball out to the left. Kinsella chips it, and Andrews has been caught off the ball. The ball finds touch, and Andrews is limping away, and he's having a word in the ref's ear. The ref knows something's going on between those two, and it's definitely the key battle of the opening 21 minutes. McNerney and Andrews, John.
Yes, very much so. But just coming back to Kinsella, I said earlier, you know, he's a player you've got to keep an eye on. It was a great crossfield ball, and Woking switched off there, gave him time, and immediately he's at it. Immediately he's looking to get forward, spray the ball around.
That's John Moore. I'm Rob Worrell, and you're listening to BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey sports special on Boxing Day. 8 hours now. We're with you until 10 o'clock tonight. The first 4 hours or so. We are about an hour and a quarter, an hour and 25 minutes in. All dedicated really to, or predominantly dedicated to Aldershot and Woking. Ball over the top, headed down by Tavan Campbell. Great touch. He's opened up down the middle for him. He's going to try a shot from distance. He's dragged it wide, but you can see the confidence just to break free into that space and try from a distance. That's a player in form who's got 13 goals to his name this season.
Yeah, he's a real live wire, and the thing is, he creates opportunities by himself. I think he'll feel, though, he should have done better there, rather rushed his shot.
And he's created the only of 2 opportunities of the opening 22 minutes. He had an effort on 2 minutes and another one on 22. Aldershot haven't tested the Woking keeper yet. Here's the ball into the left channel. Barclay Adjupong starting in the league for the first time in a while. Did start the Kingstonian game in the FA Trophy, which the shots came from behind to win 2-1. It was a little bit the other way for Woking as Effiong's chasing the ball down the far side. A little shove from Effiong into Jordan, but nothing substantial enough for the officials to give a free kick. Jordan has it to touch, throw in to Woking down by the corner flag.
Yeah, and Effiong very much playing down the middle. Lots of games this season he's been playing out wide on the left for some odd reason, so it's good to see him operating down the centre and causing problems there.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? The bigger, more imposing of the front three. Tommy Block is lining up a long throw here. Aldershot have had issues with long throws earlier in the season, tighter of late, and it comes. Heads half clear. Effiong's there, back to goal though. Tries to find a Woking player, it's half cleared. Now it comes off of Saunders, goes behind, and it'll be a corner to Woking at the East Bank end. 23 minutes gone, and it's cranking up, John.
Yeah, Aldershot look a bit uncertain, don't they, when crosses come into the box. Certainly Effiong is causing all sorts of problems with his size.
Kretschmar it is that will take it away to our left. It'll be a right-footed in-swinger. Aldershot got some blockers and some zonal markers. In comes the ball, right into the heart of the area, and is punched away by Laurie Walker, headed back in by Casey, flicked up in the air by Annesley and caught by Laurie Walker. Relieved applause from the shots faithful as Walker tries to launch a counter-attack. Glover has to come back for it, but a good touch from him. Finds Silla. Silla has gone down the wrong way, turns the other way. He doesn't like the look of things there either. Eventually finds Ryan Glover, who's drifted back. Now he finds Berkeley Adjupong, who's receiving the ball very deep again today. Aldershot not really got going in the final third so far. Here's Glover into Kinsella, tries to flick it straight back, comes off a block, into touch for a throw-in. 24.5 minutes gone. If you've just joined us, Aldershot Town 0, Woking 0. 24 and a half minutes gone. Throw into Agyapong, chests it down. Kinsella down the line, thought that Andrews would go for that. Andrews was on a different wavelength, and it just innocently trundles along behind the goal at the other end, and nothing really, John, from Aldershot as an attacking force in the opening 25 minutes. But you may be shocked by that, I'm not, because it's been the case in recent games.
Yes, at the moment they look quite nervous to me, certainly when they get in the final third. Just lots of misplaced passes. As I keep saying it, it's a young group, isn't it? And you're bound to be affected by nerves coming into a derby game.
Alfie Rutherford didn't get Dawkins' second goal, but he did get his fourth. He's got two now. Jason Pryor from the penalty spot and Neil McManus as the ball goes harmlessly through to Laurie Walker. So Dorking 4, Havant and Waterlooville 0 in the National League South. And only 5 games taking place today in the National League. COVID's won the day.
Yeah, well, Doss won't be pleased, will he, from a Havant and Waterlooville perspective?
Certainly won't be. National League North has got more fixtures than the South, or another. Again, McNerney does enough. Ball bounces off of Andrews. Effiong's chasing. He's into the left-hand side of the penalty area, looking to cut inside and get a shot away. He holds it up too long, and there's 3 Aldershot Town players there to win the ball. Glover, fed by Saunders, and then dwells on it too long. It's cleared again forward by Oxlade-Chamberlain. Glover again does well. Bit of space. Now he lifts it down the line. Annesley will again come forward and beat Andrews in the air. Whittingham outwits Casey in the centre midfield. Anderson then beats Agyapong. It's really competitive. Eventually the ball finds touch. Throw in Woking. Tyreeki Johnson wants to take it quickly, and my goodness me, no quarter being given here.
No, Effiong should have done a lot better, really. Found himself in acres of space, and he dilly-dallied, tried to beat one man too many, and eventually got caught. Instead of that, he should have really tried to get his shot away earlier.
There's a ball forward from Casey, flick round the corner from Kretschmar, picked up by Saunders, and he finds touch. He's had a difficult opening 26, 27 minutes, Alfie Saunders. He's had little chance to get forward. He's been pressured as soon as he's had the ball by Woking players on almost every occasion, and I think they've targeted him as potentially one of the weaker links in this Aldershot.
Well, he's an isolated figure at the moment, isn't he? Look, every time you see him, he's on his own. There isn't an Aldershot player within 10-15 yards of him.
Yeah, Glover's now switched back over to this side, ball forward. Kretschmar plays it into the path of Tyreeki Johnson. He's chasing it. Will he keep it in? No, he can't. And you could see from the beginning of his run, he just hesitated, and I think he thought it was going out. Then he chased it hard, almost got it. And if his cup had been half full at the start of that pass, he'd have kept it in.
Yeah, it kind of sums Woking up, really. They've got into some decent positions in the final third, and then rather squandered the opportunity.
Well, it's Aldershot now who have the throw, but they're being penned in by Woking. I think, having watched footage of recent games, I think this is the intention of both sides, really. Aldershot to be resolute in the first half and Woking to be on the front foot. What have they got to lose? Here's a ball clip forward from McNerney. That should have enough pace on it to go behind the goal at the East Bank end. Corey Jordan makes sure it does. And what this kind of stifled start to the game has done, John, it's kind of led to the terraces where there's a little bit of hesitancy on the terraces from both sets of supporters, really. It's not quite the atmosphere that it could be.
No, I haven't heard the drum banging away.
And it can be a great acoustic sound, even when there's a couple of hundred behind that goal there. There's a couple of thousand, the best part of it today. But it's not quite the atmosphere it could be yet. But who knows, goals may change games. McNerney wins it in the air, but can't head it forward. Annesley volleys it forward down the line. It'll be a throw into shots. And as a spectacle, as the game approaches the half-hour mark, it's not been great. 2 half chances, really. Quarter chances, if you like, for Tav Campbell. Nothing for Aldershot at all. I'm Rob Worrell. Alongside me is John Moore. And you're listening to BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey. Sports special for you this afternoon. Ball up towards Andrews, who he thinks has been a foul or a handball. Nothing given. Ross kicks to touch. And the players are so busy appealing for everything. Sometimes they're not doing the basic things right. Here's Saunders with a throw, looking for Andrews. Andrews gets there first, but his touch isn't good. Well, I thought it came off him, but it's been given to Aldershot, the throw, and Aldershot will line up for a long throw here. Giles Phillips and Corey Jordan will make their way forward. Oxlade, Chamberlain and Kinsella will shepherd the lively Tavan Campbell. And as we approach the half-an-hour mark, which will be in about 4 or 5 seconds, Saunders steps up with the throw. In it comes, headed away by Effiong, but behind his own goal, when he might perhaps have headed to touch. And a corner to the shots. Kinsella coming over to take just after the half-hour mark. First corner of the game for shots, I think.
Yeah, first real test from a Woking perspective.
Yeah, 1 free kick and 1 corner in this opening half an hour from Aldershot into the box, and that's the only forays they've had into the Woking penalty area. Kinsella will step forward and swing this in left-footed. Somewhere near post, it should be punched away by Ross. It could have been caught, but he decided to punch. An Aldershot Town player down on the goal line. I think it's Alfie Whittingham, but here's Glover, who skips past one, then another, and he's looking to get his cross into the far post. Good battle there. Effiong should come away with the ball, and does. Ahead of him is Anderson running into space, but Whittingham will get there first to poke it into touch. And that Aldershot Town player is still down, and it's not Alfie Whittingham. I think it might be Corey Jordan, but I'll confirm it when I can. I can see that Whittingham's gone back there into a centre-back position just at the minute, so that would make sense. Yeah, Corey Jordan getting some treatment now. Chance for me to bring John Moore in.
Yeah, I think he got a bit of a knock there. It was a dangerous corner put in by Kinsella, and Ross did well to get a fist on it, and I think in the sort of aftermath he probably caught the Aldershot player. But, you know, at the moment it's a very cagey game. Woking on top from a territorial point of view, but in terms of opportunities, neither keeper has been threatened. And I would think from Mark Mosley's point of view, I would think he'll be reasonably happy, but I suspect he'll want more from his side from an attacking perspective. And as I say, the centre forward, Corey Andrews, he cuts an isolated figure, and he's got no change out of Joe McNerney at all so far.
50-50 battle with McNerney. Even if he gets something on it, there's other defenders around.
He'll be wanting more from his midfield players. At the moment, they're not really being brave enough. They're not getting beyond the halfway line. They need to get up alongside and try and give that lone forward some help.
Yeah, it's very much the story of a lot of recent Aldershot Town games, and they have looked resolute at the back for long periods, but not offered too much going forward in the first half. So we'll see that change in the second. Now Jordan is up, he's walking to the touchline. I think he'll be okay to carry on. A quick look at the benches for the shots. Mitch Walker, Mikhail and Jolie, Ben Schroll. So Aldershot do have a centre-back on the bench today. I think that's key if you're going to play 3 centre-backs. You can only really do that when you've got at least one more you can call upon. Jaden Harris and Tommy Willard. And for the Cards, Mark Smith, Kyron Lofthouse, Musa Diarra, Solomon Wabuke and Lewis Britton.
What's happened to Toby Edser?
Out injured initially for a week, and that's turned into a month. I don't know exactly what it is, John, but it has rumbled on. And the whole entire Aldershot midfield were out for a few weeks. Bennings and Wagstaff and Ed. So there's a ball over the top. Casey will chase that. He won't get there though, and it'll be a goal kick to Aldershot. It's Dover 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 2 at Crabble. And Alty have started to come back thanks to Ryan Crowsdale, who scored an own goal for them against his own side, Stockport County. And it's Dorking Wanderers 5, Havant and Waterlooville 0. And one of the reasons perhaps why Dorking have romped to 5 goals is Havant and Waterlooville have been down to 10 men since 4 minutes of the game. So Dorking taking full advantage there. Here's Kinsella with the ball down the line for Adjupong. Comes off his chest. He's had very little joy early on. Into touch, throw in. Well, Anderson's over there ready to take it, but he doesn't want to take it, and he'll pass the ball on to Tom Champion, who gives it to Anderson. Nice touch, nice turn, buys himself a bit of space, and then a ball up towards Tavan Campbell. He looks for a 1-2 with Effiong, but that's too strong. and a lack of quality probably sums up the opening 35 minutes of this one, which is goalless here at the EBB. Oxlade-Chamberlain into Glover, Glover to Whittingham. Whittingham brings it out to the right hand side, then finds Saunders. He's quickly shut down, plays it off of Tyreeki Johnson, and this is a real test for Alfie Saunders. Did the right thing there though in a difficult spot. He found himself in a lot of difficult spots early on. 35 minutes gone at the EBB. Aldershot Town 0, Woking 0. Ball down the line, and for the first time all afternoon, McNerney gets there in front of Andrews but slices it into touch. He feels because he was being impeded by Andrews, who gets a little high five from Ryan Glover. First time Andrews has probably got the better of McNerney in 7 or 8 comings together so far. It's going to be another long throw from Alfie Saunders. We're 35.5 minutes in here at the EBB. And Saunders steps forward with the throw. Jordan does head it on. It's headed away at the far post, only as far as Glover, who hooks it back in. Headed away a couple of times. Now it'll bounce in front of Johnson, who hooks it forward well. Tavern Campbell will chase, but he won't get there in front of Oxlade-Chamberlain. And Oxlade-Chamberlain now with a long diagonal ball out to the left, looking for Giles Phillips, who's still up there. Does really well, takes it on his chest, plays it into the path of Adjipong. Adjipong makes a bit of space onto his left foot. In the left-hand side of the penalty area, shoots, deflected, not enough power on it, and collected by Craig Ross. 36 minutes gone, 0-0, and John Moore to my right is breathing a sigh of relief.
Yeah, because it was a half chance, really. I don't know why he didn't try and get his shot away. Instead of that, he seemed reluctant to shoot, and the opportunity was lost.
Alfie Rutherford has indeed got a first half hat-trick for Dorking, who are now 5-0 up against 10-man Havant and Waterlooville. Here it's 11 against 11, it's 0-0, and a healthy crowd in, the atmosphere a little bit stifled and the game a little bit stifled too. Here's Corey Jordan coming up towards halfway, tries the ball through towards Andrews. McNerney clears, hits Agyapong. Glover chasing the knockdown, he gets onto it, keeps it in. Good bit of skill from Glover, turns one way and then he tries a trick that doesn't come off, but he gets generous applause. Stockport County 4, Altrincham 1. The ball will be restarted, throw into Woking. Annesley plays it forward to halfway. Jordan and Effiong come together. Saunders and Whittingham battle. Ball comes off the Woking player. Quick decision given the Woking throw though. Ball inside. Tavern Campbell. He looks to turn. Phillips. Will he take him on? He's thinking about it now. He's stroking it out to the right hand side to Anderson, who dives into a gap, goes forward. Heavy touch. Almost goes down. Jordan clears the touch. And there was a moment there where if Anderson had gone down, there was a decision to make another deep ball in, caught underneath his crossbar by Walker under a little bit of pressure from Ini Effiong. 37.5 minutes gone here at the EBB, and it remains goalless. John Moore.
Well, half an opportunity there for Anderson, as you say. He was let down by his touch, but it was more intelligent play from Campbell. He got the ball, turned, got his head up and tried to play in Anderson.
Walker's got the ball, he's in no rush to release it. I think the Aldershot Town home faithful, John, are quite used to this approach to first halves now. It's generally resulted in a positive result at the end of the game, and there's another battle between Andrews and McNerney. McNerney steps up, ensures the ball goes over both of them, goes through to Craig Ross, who bowls it out to Tom Champion. And Woking come away again just inside their own half with Annesley. Gives the ball to Johnson, gets it back, plays it forward again. Is that too heavy? Yes, it is. It'll find touch. And for all their possession and the greater territory, as you say, John, Woking have struggled to create much.
Yeah, they have, but you know, at least they've been competitive. Not sure really. I like the idea of Casey playing in midfield. He doesn't really have that experience, he doesn't have that sense of really what's required in there, and he looks lost out there, I think, at the moment.
Good work from Anderson to shrug off Berkeley Adjupong. Finds Casey. Annesley lifts an early ball forward, headed away by Oxlade-Chamberlain, back to Annesley, flicked on by Glover, headed on by Oxlade-Chamberlain and cleared to touch by Corey Jordan. We're entering that period that Aldershot have conceded a lot of goals this season. The 5 minutes or so before half time. What about Woking? Have they been any patterns there with when they've conceded goals?
Yeah, late on. So
Late
it's
on
set
each
up
side.
nicely.
And you come back to end talking about momentary lapses of concentration. Ball in to the Aldershot Town area. Phillips gets there ahead of Campbell and clears, volleys to touch. Aldershot taking no chances in defensive positions when there's not a clear pass on. Here's Woking building again. Casey inside looking for Kretschmar. Kretschmar goes back to McNerney. He'll stroke it across to Tom Champion. Champion to Tommy Block on the right hand side. Quick early ball into Tavern Campbell, who's going 1-on-1 against Phillips. Phillips holds up. Oh, cross comes in and matched Kretschmar stretching underneath the ball a little, could only head it well over the bar. But he was only 6-7 yards out, John. Might he have done better?
Most definitely. Brilliant work from Campbell over on that right-hand side. He got to the byline, somehow got the ball across, and Kretschmar is, 6 yards out, and somehow contrives to head it over the bar. That was a glorious opportunity spurned.
Yeah. It looked slightly difficult one to take, but he got his header all wrong. Consequently,
the only question mark was whether it was slightly behind him.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get over it.
On this occasion, as the ball comes forward from Walker, it's for the first time all afternoon Tom Champion in the straight 50-50 with Andrews, and again he out-nouses him, if you like, if you'll accept that as a term. Goes through to Ross, who kicks from his hands now. Clear-headed winner from Jordan, straight back to Tom Champion. He looks to find Campbell. Looks so lively when he gets on the ball. Looks like he's got the ability to turn and go past his man. Ball down the line from Tommy Block, gets it horribly wrong. He looks at the ground at his feet as he just bangs it down the right channel, as if someone was bombing down the wing and there was nobody anywhere near.
Yeah, you referred to Campbell. I told you he's a live wire. He's always on the move. That's what I like about him. He never stands still. 1 minute he's out on the left, next he's down the middle, next he's over on the right. And he's so quick on the turn, and he's got quick feet as well, and he is a defender's nightmare.
That's 12 goals in the National League. Tavern Campbell, 1 as well in the Cups. Former Cheltenham player. And a little stat on him in a minute as the ball goes down the line. Andrews chases. I don't think he'll keep it in. He does keep it in, but it's easy for Champion to collect, and eventually it trickles out of play anyway. 24 years old, Tavern Campbell. It's his 11th club, including loans. And in 115 appearances prior to joining Woking, he scored 8 goals. And now he's, 13 in less than 30.
Well, you've got to give credit to Alan Dowson, because
he spotted something there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And sometimes the player just has an affinity with a particular club. It feels right, and it's proved to be the case so far.
Goal kick is met in the air by Whittingham. It'll find touch though. Throw in to the visitors. 42.5 minutes gone. Shots nil, cards nil. Quickly played back to McNerney, and Champion have had so much time to pass the ball between them with nobody anywhere near him. On this occasion, Champion has his second bad touch of the game. Aldershot have got a foot in there through Mo Silla and won it, but Woking recover. Johnson with the ball inside. Corey Jordan should get there first. Not the best touch from him, but he's under a bit of pressure now, plays it forward, and Woking will win it. Casey heads it into the path of Effiong. Players go to ground, touch inside from Kretschmar. Lovely bit of play from Silla, who loses it though, and he loses out to Jermaine Anderson, who does brilliantly. But now Whittingham wins the loose ball. He's bombing forward, he's got Adjupong inside of him. He's pulled down, free kick to Aldershot Town, and we might see the first yellow card here of the afternoon. It is out indeed for Tyreek Johnson, is it?
Yep. It all got a bit tasty, didn't it, in the middle? Tackles
tremendous.
were flying in. I think Woking felt aggrieved that they didn't get a decision. Casey felt he was fouled, but that's not unusual. And in the end, I think it was
good play from
Johnson.
Whittingham, yeah.
Yeah, it was. He was strong, he was determined, and in the end, Johnson took him out, or took one for the team.
So we're in the 45th minute, 44 minutes and 5 seconds gone now. And Aldershot, we don't know how much added time there will be, but Aldershot have an opportunity with a set piece here. So it's about 40, 45 yards out. I don't think Kinsella will shoot from here. He has scored 3 goals this season. two of which were from key free kicks, but a lot closer in than this. Saunders steps up, plays it right-footed to the far post, half cleared. Campbell should be able to finish the job on the edge of the area. He's pulled down by Kinsella. Campbell pulls Kinsella down with him. It's all getting a little bit spicy. There's a shove. Kinsella's being pulled away, and now Kinsella has to come and have a word with referee Daniel Middleton, who wants a word with Kinsella and presumably with Tarvin Campbell as well. Not a lot in it for me. John, what about for you?
No, not at all. Both players on the deck, really. Sometimes you get your feet tangled up. Besides which, it's a derby. You need to show a bit of passion. And the referee, very sensible, just had a word with Kinsella, calmed it down.
One added minute here at the EBB. It's goalless as we go into that. Woking have a free kick to be taken by Craig Ross, some 10-15 yards outside of his area, central. Lifts it forward now. It's going to be a battle between Campbell and Jordan. In any case, the assistant referee's flag goes up for an offside against Tarvin Campbell, and one or two people around us turn and make their way to beat the queues for the half-time tea hut. And we'll get some summing up from John Moore after the half-time whistle. We'll have a little bit of chat about that first half, and then we'll hand back to the studio where Tim Durrans will guide you through the next section of our 8-hour sports special this afternoon on BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey, and on the BBC Sports app and the red button, wherever you're listening from. Merry Christmas and welcome to Boxing Day. Half time it is here at the EBB. Shots nil, cards nil, and with his thoughts on that first half, Mr. John Moore.
Well, Woking certainly enjoyed the territorial advantage. I think they'll be frustrated really that they haven't made more of the final ball. Max Kretschmar had the best opportunity of the half, 5 minutes from the first half ending, and somehow put his header over. From an Aldershot perspective, they've held their own, but as an attacking threat they've been non-existent really. Corey Andrews has been an isolated figure. They've had no width at all, and the midfield is playing very, very safe, and certainly in the second half I would think Mark Mosley will be demanding a lot more from his team.
That's John Moore. I'm Rob Worrell. We'll have a little chat with our presenter back in the studio, Tim Durrans. No goals here, but I hear they've been raining in down at Dorking.
Yeah, we'll be off to Dorking in a moment. 5-0 there, an early sending off. We'll get more from Les Freeman. Yeah, John, so first half, I know it's a derby. You mentioned there, Aldershot will want more. Woking will be reasonably satisfied?
Yeah, definitely. They're the away team. They've, I think, played quite well at times, but it's been a little bit frustrating that when they've got into good positions, they've rather squandered the opportunities. And as I said, Max Kretschmar, I think, had a decent chance just before half-time with a header, which he put over, and you wonder whether that might prove to be costly. But Woking have looked very compact out there. They've looked very well organised. It's been encouraging that they managed to get their wing-backs forward, which they haven't really done in other games, so they've very much been sort of playing with almost 7 at the back. But today, they're playing a much higher line, and overall, I think Alan Dowson will be pleased.
Gentlemen, thank you. You better get in that hut queue by the sounds of it for the Bovril and for the Cocoa. So half-time at the EBB Stadium. Aldershot 0, Woking 0. We'll return to the gentlemen in around 15 minutes' time, about 4:05. Elsewhere in the National League, Dover 0, Dagenham 2 is a half-time. As we heard, Stockport thumping Altrincham 4-1, the last score we had. And Torquay Yeovil is goalless. That is confirmed as half-time. Well, he's had to take his shoes and socks off as Les Freeman at Dorking. A avalanche of goals. Dorking Wanderers looking to go above Havant at Waterlooville today. Great first half. What's the story, Les?
Well, we didn't see this one coming, I've got to say. We are already sitting at 5-0 at half-time, which has just been absolutely amazing. Blistering start from Wanderers with Alfie Rutherford, former Havant player, 3 minutes in, getting his first goal. And after 5 minutes, he was through again. And the Havant defender, Paul Rooney, pushed him in the back, knocked him over and got a red card. Paul Doswell was absolutely livid. Jason Pryor then netted from the penalty, so that's 6 minutes gone, 2 up. And then it really has been one-way traffic, apart from a few odd breaks from Havant. 20 minutes gone, Niall McManus then netted from just inside the box after great work again from Briggs and Rutherford. And it's really been the Alfie Rutherford show since then, because he's added 2 more before half-time for the goal after 24 minutes and then 37 minutes. And haven't really woeful defending at times. As Paul Doswell has been sitting near me in the stand, and he's somewhat bemused by, I won't sort of describe it in the same terms, but he's not happy with the defending. So we've had pretty much one-way traffic for probably 3/4 of that half, with a few odd forays forward from Havant, but they made a tactical change after the sending off. They brought on Jamie Collins for James Roberts, but there's been nothing to show for it so far. So here we are, half-time score, Dorking Wanderers 5, Havant and Waterlooville 0.
Wow, Les Freeman, great stuff, and a great afternoon for Dorking Wanderers. They're in the playoffs, they'll be higher up looking like this. We'll look at the table after 5, of course. Already in that league, Maidstone winning 1-0 at Tunbridge, Concord winning 3-1 at Billericay, and Oxford City beating Slough Town in a 5-goal thriller at home by 3-2. Chelmsford 3, Braintree 0, Chippenham 0, Bath 1, and as we've been hearing, Dorking 5, Havant and Waterlooville 0. Lots of drama as well in the Premier League. A number of games postponed, of course, but those that have continued, Manchester City have taken advantage of injury and COVID issues for Leicester. It's Manchester City 4, Leicester 0 at half-time. De Bruyne, Mahrez, Gundogan and Sterling with the goals for City. Arsenal have a 2-0 lead away to bottom side Norwich City. Saka and Tierney giving the Gunners a 2-0 lead. Spurs 2, Crystal Palace 0. That's a lovely tweet for an Albion fan. It's always a good Boxing Day when Zaha is sent off. Yep, so Wilfried Zaha sent off, and the Spurs goals coming from Kane finally getting the net, and Luka Moura. So Spurs 2, Palace 0. So already a good afternoon for the Albion. And Saints a goal up at West Ham, who can't buy a win at the moment. West Ham 0, Southampton 1. Elenisi with the goal for Saints. Don't forget the Albion coming up, of course, at 8 o'clock. We'll begin our build-up. Adrian will chat to Johnny between 6 and 6:30, and then we'll be live from the Amex with Johnny, Warren and Adrian here in the studio as we build up to Albion Brentford. Full live commentary across Sussex and Surrey for you from 8 o'clock. But without further ado, it is, of course, a Boxing Day. People are going hither and thither on the roads.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Travel.
The M25 looks to have cleared. I've got no notes here about the M25, which had been a problem for the early part of the day and the afternoon. So hopefully the M25 a little clearer now after accidents around 9:10 a few hours ago now. The big local story is the B2104. It's blocked heading south from Saltmarsh Lane to Sailland Lane in Helsham. There's an accident there involving 2 cars. We've had a separate phone call to our producer Mel about this. So see if this will give you a little bit more details. This email says that it's Ersham Road that is closed both ways following this road traffic accident near Saltmarsh Lane. So that is Ersham Road there near Saltmarsh Lane. Not a good accident, it sounds like, involving a couple of cars. So that's the very latest on that. Looking at the public transport, reduced service across the network on Avanti West Coast. That's because of a shortage of train crews today. Roadworks, a host of them in Worthing. Temporary lights on the A259 Richmond Road near the Auto Parts store. Gas main work there. Electricity work has closed New Inn Lane in Guildford. That's from London Road to Grosvenor Court. Church Road closed from the High Street to St John's Road in Polegate. Gas main work there. In Westham, temporary lights on Rattle Road at Gallows Lane. Gas main work again. Roadworks in Wolsey Road between Portsmouth Road and Lammas Lane in Esher. That's until Tuesday. And in Hazelmere, temporary lights on Way Hill around St Christopher's Road because of electricity work. Travel You Trust. We'll have more at 5 o'clock after the football.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Yes, good afternoon. We are 2 hours into our 8-hour sports special. So far, goalless at the Rec, but the shots had a chance. The cards had a chance.
Phillips holds up. Oh, cross comes in, and Max Krexmar stretching underneath the ball a little, could only head it well over the bar. But he was only 6-7 yards out, John.
Brilliant work from Campbell over on that right-hand side. He got to the byline, somehow got the ball across, and Kretschmar is, 6 yards out, and somehow contrives to head it over the bar. That was a glorious opportunity spurned.
Goalless second half commentary coming up here on the radio and online. Wherever you go, you can get it on the BBC Sounds app. Rob and John back in around 8 minutes' time. In the Premier League, Manchester City winning 4-0 at home to Leicester, Arsenal winning 2-0 at Norwich, Spurs beating Palace 2-0, and Southampton winning 1-0 at the London Stadium against West Ham. Our kick-off, of course, 8 o'clock, full live build-up with Johnny Warren and Adrian from 7 as the Albion play Brentford at the Amex from 8 tonight. In National League South, Dorking Wanderers hit 5 in the first half against 10-man Havant and Waterlooville. We're more from Les Freeman at full time in that one. And the big shock in the King George, Tornado Fly winning at 28-1. We'll play you that in a moment's time. But first, let's... can't do it quickly. Let's tell you a little bit about the cricket. Not a great day, as it hasn't been for the entire series. England 2-0 down, losing the opening 2 tests. No better today on the opening day of the 3rd test. This is in Melbourne. England put into bat, making just 185. Australia 61 for 1 in reply at the MCG. Watching between his fingers, Jonathan Agnew.
This game and the Ashes already seem to be out of England's reach. Poor shot selection by key batsmen, including Root for 50, contributed to their total, which is probably 150 runs or so light. There is some bounce, but not as much seam movement as the green pitch promised, and Warner and Harris, by running busily between the wickets, put England's score in perspective before Warner edged Anderson to gully, where Crawley took a good catch. Wood bowled extremely fast, up to 94 miles an hour, regularly beating the bat, and England needs to take every chance and hope for some fortune if they're to keep Australia in check on the second day.
Reminder, England making 2 changes. The 2 Surrey boys, Burns and Pope, are taken out. Crawley and Bairstow put in, and it is Bairstow who spoke after the day's play, the England wicketkeeper.
To lose the toss and get put in on a pitch that was doing plenty, I thought we grafted pretty well first up. Obviously, David and Joe put on another good partnership. Really unfortunate to lose David just before lunch, otherwise that would have been a good session for us.
You had to come into this match without a lot of preparation yourself. How was that, playing your first test match back for a little while?
Yeah, naturally, you'd like a bit more game time underneath your belt. Unfortunately, with the COVID restrictions and everything like that, you're not able to do so, and we've not been able to get as many in-tour fixtures, if you like. But look, it's part and parcel of the game at the moment. We're playing a lot of cricket all around the world in different formats, so you've got to be adaptable to different conditions at different points.
Quite a nasty little delivery from Mitchell Starc in the end that you were trying to get under, it seemed like.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, and it just followed me. Look, it's one of those, there's been quite a lot that have carried through to the keeper on them, so we've seen there as well, there's a little bit more inconsistent bounce this evening. Obviously Marcus Harris got one on the glove there, and then the following ball didn't carry through to the keeper, so look, we'll be looking to exploit those areas in the morning. The morning session will be a huge session, and let's see how we go.
And then getting David Warner out shortly before stumps, he's made a lot of runs in the series. That must give you a bit of heart going into tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. He was always looking to put pressure back on our bowlers, and that's how he plays. Like you say, he scored runs in this series and previously, but no, it was a big boost to pick him up just before the end, and like I say, we come back in the morning, all guns blazing, raring to go.
That's Johnny Bairstow in conversation there. Good luck to England. They'll need it tomorrow on day 2. Australia resume 61 for 1, replying to England's 185 all out. 0-0 at the Rec, back there in a moment's time. And as I hinted at, shock at Kempton Park in the King George today. John Hunt takes it up.
Coming to the third last, and there St Calvados was joined by Clandays Oboe. 2 Nichols runners, 1 and 2. Will they be upset by Tornado Flyer though on the outside of the field? Asterion Forlange back in 4th place. It's going to be the Paul Nichols or Willie Mullins, and now as they jump the second last fence, it's Tornado Flyer who has come through to hit the front. This would be a stunning shot. Clandays Oboe's got nothing left to give, so now Asterion Forlange moves second. A 1-2 at the last fence for Willie Mullins. Asterion Forlange falls at the last. That leaves Tornado Flyer clear of the field. Clandays Oboe's in second, followed by St Calvados, but one of the great Christmas shocks in the King George just before our very eyes. Tornado Tornado Flyer, unthought of, unconsidered, gives Willie Mullins his first King George success for 20 years. The great Florida Pearl won it for him all those years ago. Today, Tornado Flyer for Danny Mullins has beaten the Nichols pair, Clandays Obo and St Calvados, who are second and third. Frodon came next, then lost in translation. Pleased to say that Esteron Falange has got up to his feet when falling at the last. He was in second place, but that is a stunning shock. Tornado Flyer has just won one of the great races in the calendar. It's his first win in any race for 2 years, this horse. Extraordinary scenes. Trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Danny Mullins. Tornado Flyer's a huge shock win.
Great commentary as ever from John Hunt. 4 minutes past 4. We're back to the EBB Stadium in a moment's time. Aldershot 0, Woking 0, and the local derby in the National Conference.
The James Cannon Breakfast Show.
Good morning. Every weekday morning, we have Surrey's most polite wake-up. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, James.
Morning, James. Good morning.
Waking you up every weekday morning from 6.
As you ease into the world, we'll bring you the latest news and travel, as well as a plethora of people who just want to say hello.
Good morning. Morning, James.
Good morning. Hello. Good morning, James.
The James Cannon Breakfast Show.
Join us as we say good morning to Surrey every weekday from 6.
Morning. Hi there.
Morning, James.
Wake up to breakfast
On BBC Radio Surrey.
Yeah, the breakfast team with you in the morning. A reminder as the players come out at Aldershot, where it's goalless, what we have coming up then later this evening. Between 5 and 6, we'll round up today's local football in the non-league. We'll open the phone lines if you want to give us a call. We'll give you the number at the end of the match, where it's Aldershot 0, Woking 0, Dorking 5, Houghton Waterlooville 0. We'll reflect on the cricket, maybe have a bit more reaction from the racing. Between 6 and 7, we'll look back at the sporting year. We've got some reflections from some of the big stories, including this hour passing of the great Sussex and England captain Ted Dexter. We'll hear about that. Look back on the Olympics and the Sussex Sports Awards this autumn, and the retirement of Johanna Konta. That's all to come after 6 tonight. And then from 7, Adrian Harms in the chair with Johnny and Warren there at the Amex. It is, of course, the Albion against Brentford in the Premier League. A reminder of the Premier League scores then for you. Manchester City 4, Leicester 0, Norwich 0, Arsenal 2, Spurs 2, Palace 0, and West Ham 0, Southampton 1. But without further ado, I can hear some booing at the Ebb Stadium. Woking must be coming out. Let's go back there, John Moore. Unless it's they're saying Rob Wall walk back into the commentary box.
One or the other, but yeah, funnily enough, just as you said it, the blue-shirted and black-shorted Woking side came back out onto the pitch. The shots have been out for a little while before that. Thank you very much indeed, Tim. So I'm rejoined here by John Moore. And quite early today, John, we given the official attendance figure, and it's very, very healthy. 3,699, 643 Cards fans.
Yeah, shows what I know, doesn't it? Or little I know. I predicted less than 3 and a poor turnout from Woking. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Both sides are out. Daniel Middleton's out. A quick run through our starting lineups. There's no evidence of any changes to them at half-time. Aldershot Town, both sides pretty much in a 3-5-2. They may differ slightly in the midfield area where Woking have tried to put an extra man in. So Laurie Walker in goal for the Shots. 3 centre-backs, Giles Phillips, Corey Jordan and Oxlade Chamberlain. Kinsella and Alfie Saunders, the wing-backs. They haven't got forward very much in the first half. Mo Silla and Alfie Whittingham in centre midfield for the Shots. Jacob Berkeley-Adjupong and Ryan Glover either side of Corey Andrews up top, who's been a bit of an isolated figure in the first half. We're underway for the second half. The ball's already in touch. And for Woking, well, it's as we thought before the game kicked off, John. Craig Ross in goal, Annesley, McNerney and Champion the back three. As hang on, here comes Alfie Whittingham bombing straight through the middle. Across to Berkeley-Adjupong, shoots over the bar. And Aldershot, who didn't muster an effort on goal in the opening 45 minutes, have had one in the first 30 seconds of the second half, John.
Well, poor play from Woking. Really bad start to the half. Confusion and muddle at the back, giving the ball away. and inviting Aldershot onto them, and looks like, I think it's Casey's been shown a yellow card.
Yeah.
But a decent start from Aldershot, and I'm sure Mark Mosley would have got into his team at half-time and said, come on, I need more from you. And I think it's very, very important he tries to get players like Alfie Whittingham more forward, because it was noticeable when he did make that one run, drove Woking back and caused problems, and he'll be asking, I think, more from his players generally.
Right, so Jacob Berkeley-Ajapong shooting over in the opening seconds of the second half. Aldershot's first effort on goal. Here's Whittingham chesting the ball down, finding a bit of space in front of him, threads it out to the right hand side. Corey Andrews is in the right hand side, the ball's pulled back, it's half cleared. McNerney will stick his left foot through it up towards halfway, and Aldershot show their intent at the start of this second half. Here's Kinsella, plays it back initially to Giles Phillips. That's lifted the spirits and the voices of the Shots faithful. Glover jumps for a ball, can't get it, it goes over him, and it'll be picked up by Craig Ross at the far side. Didn't finish that Woking lineup. Ross in goal, three centre-backs, Annesley, McNerney, champion. Left wing-back Tyreeki Johnson, on the right Tommy Block, Casey, Kretschmar and Anderson in midfield. Effiong and Campbell, the two most advanced players for Woking. Effiong heads the ball down into the path of Anderson, and now Champion will pick it up and come over halfway. We're in the 48th minute already. It's goalless between the Shots and the Cards, and you're listening to a 4-hour special. Well, Silla wins the ball there, and it's unfairly, according to the referee. Free kick Woking, and the Shots faithful in the North Stand not happy about that. John, an honest opinion from you, sir?
Well, you wouldn't expect them to be, but it was a free kick all day long, because Campbell was on the half turn, he got in front of his man, and he got pulled down.
Well, this is a free kick from a similar position where Kinsella had a couple in the first half. You think, short of trying to kid everybody and stick it in at the near post, it will be a cross into the area. High defensive line on the edge of the Aldershot Town penalty area. Tyreeki Johnson sends it in, it's headed across, and Silla himself, the man who gave away the kick, volleys it away. It's a clean volley up towards halfway. Now Andrews is coming onto the ball, and he falls badly, I think, on his ankle as well. So we'll have to see if he's okay. Ball meanwhile into the area. Saunders doesn't get the best touch. Oxlade-Chamberlain nervously kicks it into touch. Andrews is up and he's okay. He tried to take that one athletically on the move and just stumbled somewhat.
You're being kind, Rob. Stumbled somewhat.
He stumbled somewhat.
Went flying.
He went flying, and there was no one near him that could have possibly have caused it, so he definitely fell over his own feet there. 48 minutes and 45 seconds gone. A much livelier start to the second half, particularly with that opening Aldershot Town attack. A couple of forwards through the middle from Whittingham, but here's a throw from Woking, headed away by Glover. He's diminutive, but he won that one clearly. Good positioning into touch, throw into Woking, directly opposite where John and I are sat. Well, it was. Now it's been passed further forward, and Tyreeki Johnson, he's one of two players from the Woking side on yellows, along with Casey. None as yet for Aldershot. McNerney lifts the ball over the top. Effiong breaks the lines, and he breaks them illegally, according to the assistant away to our right, offside. What do you reckon, John?
Didn't Kinsella get a yellow card, or am I going? No, he didn't. You're right. Absolutely.
No.
The referee had a word with him.
I think in his mind, listeners, John waved a yellow at Kinsella, just for the look on his face.
As if.
Yeah. The attendance has just been announced to the supporters here, and I'm not quite sure if our club statistician Pete Stamford's listening in, but that is definitely the biggest crowd at Aldershot for some time. I'm not quite sure when there was last a bigger crowd here. Of course, Aldershot Woking last season was played behind closed doors, and Aldershot Woking the season before didn't happen because it was the very next game due after the season was ended prematurely. Coming together on the far side, Effiong's got it. He finds, well, Oxlade-Chamberlain does really well, plays it forward. McNerney flicks it on, and I wonder if McNerney and Champion as centre-backs, John, will have had an easier game this season than they've had so far today.
Well, certainly Aldershot really haven't put them under anywhere near enough pressure, just playing with one up top.
Anderson's lost the ball here. He's lost out to Berkeley Adjipong, who's got a little bit of space through the middle. He's looking to go past McNerney now, and the referee hesitates, but as Adjipong goes down, he does give the kick. I don't think he's going to give a yellow. I think he reluctantly gave the kick there as well, John.
Well, I don't understand why he wouldn't give a yellow card for that challenge, because
It looked pretty
McNerney just
cynical
pulled him,
to you
just
and
took
I,
him out.
But, yeah. And this, for the first time today, is a free kick within striking distance. And there's no doubt from an Aldershot Town point of view who wants it, who's got first dibs right now. 3 goals for the season, 2 of them from free kicks. And that is the skipper, Lewis Kinsella. No goals in his first 115 games. McNerney finally is shown the yellow card. The referee took a long time to make his mind up though, didn't he? He could have, if he was going to, he could have cut all that drama out just by wandering over and waving it. But maybe McNerney's talked himself into it in the end.
No, I think the referee was always going to give a yellow card for that sort of challenge.
Who knows? We're not in the mind of the ref, but and we can certainly agree to differ on our opinions. So let's say this, just slightly left, as you look at the goal from Aldershot's point of view, slightly left of centre, and I would say about 30 yards out. John, you going to go with that?
Yep.
No one else is even sniffing it. There's 3 men in the Woking wall. Lewis Kinsella fancies the shot. There's a lot of forward players up there, but Kinsella is going to step up, strikes it, and well, it's saved away to his left by Ross. He almost wondered if he could have caught it, but he ended up pushing it round the post.
He should definitely have caught it, Rob.
Yeah.
He had a clear sight of it, and it's given away a needless corner.
But
Aldershot are going to take over on that far side.
Kins did the right thing from an Aldershot Town point of view.
There's something being thrown on the pitch, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit of a disturbance there behind the goal at the East Bank end.
Don't want to see that.
Calming down a little bit now. Kinsella steps forward, left-footed. In comes the corner, and the header comes in from Corey Jordan over the bar. And I guess in terms of an effort on goal from where he was, it was about as good as Kretschmar's in the first half.
It was, and indeed, like Kretschmar in the first half, he should have done better there, because it was a free header. He got up, got a decent connection on it, but he just couldn't get it on target.
So, Aldershot, no efforts on goal in the first half. 3 times already in the second half they've asked questions. 53 minutes gone now, and it remains goalless. Throw in down the line for Woking, finds Kretschmar. Kretschmar loses out. Well, Saunders wins the ball cleanly. Well, it's been raved red card.
Yeah.
Saunders goes to ground, makes clean contact with the ball, and with Kretschmar. Kretschmar's gone down. He's in some discomfort. He's up to his knees now, and referee Daniel Middleton has shown red to Alfie Saunders. Aldershot Town's first red card of the season in the 54th minute. 0-0, John Moore.
Well, as soon as I saw that challenge come in, it was a red all day long, I'm afraid. You know, it was a lunge, it was out of control, and it's so unnecessary. Kretschmar's going absolutely nowhere over on that far touchline, and it's a loss of self-control, really. It really is. Poor challenge.
I'm not gonna sit on the fence here. I'm gonna say I don't think it was red, okay? And that might be a little patently obvious to the listeners in terms of, you know, why we might differ on that. But what I would say is this: Alfie Saunders has seen the example. Lewis Kinsella made a very similar tackle the other week. It's that one where you know you're going to get the ball and you really go in hard. You may catch a bit of the man as well. More often than not, I've seen that given as a yellow. John Moore thinks it's red. I've got my doubts. What I would say is we're the other side of the pitch as well. So, you know, if studs were up or not, we can't quite see. No doubt the replays will put that one to bed. But regardless, John, ref's made his decision, and he was quite unequivocal.
Yeah, as I said, as soon as I saw the challenge, I thought that is a red. And you know, the game's changed, Rob. I'm not saying it's changed for the right reasons, and you know, until fairly recently that probably would have been a yellow, but now you've only got to come in with intent or or be looking as though you're out of control, and he did dive in and he did go right through him.
Well, Kretschmar's absolutely fine. Let's be clear about that one for our listeners. And up he steps now to take the free kick. It's cleared away by Kinsella, and Adjupong finds it. And Aldershot, who struggled to build attacks in the first half, might now regret not taking any one of those 3 half chances. Here's Effiong to the edge of the area, tries to get it back on his right foot, dwells on it a little bit. Silla clears. Not the first time Effiong's done that today. It took so long to make his mind up about what he wants to do. Molesley, both hands out. Just calm down to the players. It's bubbled over now, and this might just be the chink of good fortune. And of course, I'm saying that with Kretschmar being okay. That Woking need. Aldershot down to 10.
Yeah, and it's a shame really, because Aldershot started the half really well, I thought, on the front foot, looking as though Mark Moseley had got into them at half time, got them more energised, because they were so passive, far too passive in the first half, and you just wonder what effect that will have.
Is the ball lifted forward? Effiong gets the flick on. Jordan heads clear up towards Whittingham, who is pushed from behind. Although he came off worse, I think Effiong's jump was clean enough. He just ended up bundling Whittingham over in his follow-through. Free kick to the Shots. Dorking not happy with 5-0 up against Havant at half-time. They've scored a 6th, approaching the hour mark, which we're also doing here. 57 minutes gone at the EBB. It's Shots 0, Cards 0. And in terms of cards, 3 yellows to Woking, but 1 red against Aldershot Town. Alfie Saunders. Jaden Harris is going to come on shortly for Shots. We'll see how they'll reshuffle things. It's been a red card in the Torquay Yeovil game as well. There's another ball forward from the Shots. That's got enough pace on it, I think, to just run out of play at the East Bank end. It'll be a goal kick to Woking. And it's Jason Pryor with his 2nd goal of the game at Dorking. And now we'll find out who is going to be sacrificed for Aldershot Town here. Might it be perhaps Glover or Agyapong? We shall wait and see. Jaden Harris is going to come on for the Shots. Kinsella's come over to find out what's happening with the shape. Meanwhile, play is going to carry on from the Woking goal kick. Moseley still giving Harris instructions. Harris has been tremendous for Aldershot this season, just finding his way back into the team after a period on loan and injury. We can now see that for Aldershot Town, the substitute is going to... I could see the numbers, but they didn't make sense to me. I think we'll come back to that. Goal kick, when it's eventually... What's the referee up not happy with here, John? Pushing and shoving off the ball, maybe?
It's hard to say, isn't it? It certainly looks like Casey's involved as ever.
Well, the substitution is going to happen now. One of my 2 hunches was right. Jacob Berkeley Adjupong is a little bit of attacking flair, sacrifice for Aldershot to try and make sure, I guess, from this point on, from the hour point on, John, that they keep the point they started with at the very least.
Yeah, that sending off has very much disrupted things for Aldershot, because Adjupong was starting to make some forward bursts, and he was looking to be a threat.
Torquay United have taken the lead against Yeovil now. Goal kick's taken by Ross, flicked on by Effiong, taken on the chest and then brought down by Tavan Campbell, and then Casey bombs forward and beats a couple of challenges. Cross comes in and it's hooked away by Jordan. Walker might have got there, but here's Whittingham now putting his foot through it, and Andrews will chase. And ironically, it's into open play, but McNerney should probably go back to his keeper. He goes the other way and turns out and now lifts it forward. Giles Phillips will head it comfortably into the path of Harris, who has a good first touch, buys himself a bit of space, finds Whittingham, and Aldershot are going to have to pick and choose the moments that they send bodies forward now. They keep possession at the moment. Silla with a heavy touch, goes back to Jordan, gets it back in space. It's Sonny Bluelow Everton has been sent off for Yeovil prior to Torquay taking the lead. Good ball out to the left. Kinsella nearly got onto it, but it eventually trickles across the touchline and out for a Woking throw. 60.5 minutes gone here at the EBB. 10-man Aldershot 0, Woking 0. Nearly gave Woking a goal they hadn't scored there, John. But,
yeah, didn't like to say anything, Rob.
Yeah, we move on. The ball's lifted forward up towards halfway. Clear-headed winner for Corey Jordan. He's looking for Kinsella. Kinsella misses it. Block heads it into touch. Throw into Aldershot, and they're just a little bit on their heels as an attacking unit at the minute, trying to make sure they keep the door locked at the other end. Andrews is having his arm pulled, but he leaves it. Kinsella sends the ball in. It's headed away, only as far as Phillips. Oxlade-Chamberlain, he finds Alfie Whittingham out on the right-hand side. He scurries to it and finds Glover to the byline, squares it across, and there's no shots player in there, and it's easy for Block, who can just come away with it, and then he plays a ball down the line looking for that man, Tavern Campbell. Gives Phillips a little shove, not enough to cause any change to the passage of the ball, which runs through to Laurie Walker. 62nd minute, goalless here between the shots and the cards. Here's John Moore.
That was frustrating for Aldershot, really. They've worked themselves into a good position down that right-hand side, down Woking's left. But the final ball was appalling. Just pulled it back, didn't get his head up.
Huge kick from Laurie Walker. It's headed up in the air by McNerney, and then on again by Block, and then one in the air by Kretschmar, who's absolutely got no ill effects of that challenge from Saunders that led to the red card. But Woking lose it in the middle of the park. Mo Silla picks it up and gives it to Kinsella, who's going to be brave for Aldershot, who's going to foray forward. Andrews might. He's onto the ball now in the penalty area. No composure whatsoever. Volleys it onto the roof of the East Bank, way off target. And having chested it down, he might well have done better, John.
Yeah, really lacked composure when it mattered. Lovely ball to find him from Kinsella. But really, he needed to get over it. Instead of that, he leant back.
So the shots are down to 10 men, but it's only the shots that have had efforts on goal in this second half. 3 or 4 half chances now. So in terms of chances across the game, shots have actually gone ahead now. Very, very few in the first half, really. Tarvin Campbell, a couple of efforts on goal, and Max Kretschmar headed over. A reminder that Dorking are playing Havant and Waterlooville. They've been up against 10 men since the 4th minute, and they are 6-0 up now. Couple of goals for Jason Pryor and a hat-trick for Rutherford. Now given away by Jermaine Anderson on halfway. Andrews comes forward, plays the ball. Well, it should have been an easy pull into the path of Harris, but he gets it all horribly wrong. Woking, meanwhile, clear to touch on halfway. We're going to see a Woking substitution shortly, John.
Sorry, I was saying poor from Anderson, really. Dwelt on the ball and didn't seem to be aware of what was going on around him. And you wonder, he hasn't played many matches, you know, you wonder if tiredness is setting in, and Woking might need to think about getting him off and putting Wabuke on.
Well, Wabuke is coming on very shortly. Here's Anderson in a straight battle against Casey, and he beats him, I beg your pardon, Whittingham, and he comes away with the ball. He's checked, and then the ball runs loose and into the path of a Woking player, but Casey's just going to ground now as well. Is he feeling something? Kretschmar spreads it out to the right-hand side to Block. This one is all still to play for. Slight advantage though with Woking. Aldershot are down to 10, and another poor ball from Anderson through the middle as Josh Casey goes down again. He's going to need treatment, and Woking may just hold off on their substitute, when in fact they've already decided by the looks of it that it's going to be the number 3 Josh Casey who's coming off.
Yeah, he's very much filled in central midfield this afternoon with Ince missing, and I think he struggled really, which is understandable because it's not his natural position. And, you know, you play midfield, it's completely different from playing wing back or left back, but you know, he's given his all, hasn't he?
Yep, Solomon Wabukai is going to come on for him. Started his career at Biggleswade, not too far from my part of the world, and then St Albans, I think 6 goals in 49 games there. And now he's a Woking player. Your thoughts, please, on Mr Wabukai?
Well, he stepped up from the league below, signed from St Albans, and he's been very, very decent. He's got good legs, determination. and he's formed an effective midfield partnership with Ince, and as I say, it's to Woking's detriment today that neither of them have started, and he'll definitely give Woking a lot more in midfield.
And Kyron Lofthouse has come on as well for Tommy Block. Will that be a straight change, John?
Yeah, and he's a lot more of an attacking threat. I think he's slightly unfortunate, really, to be on the bench. Lofthouse, he's got, again, good energy, he's quick, he can get down the flanks, and he may pose some questions.
Well, 66 gone, so 24 left plus added time. Probably time to mention for the first time today that Woking haven't drawn a game all season. Volleyed away by Corey Jordan, chased by Andrews, who jumps with McNerney. McNerney's going to head that into the path of Annesley, who's lifted the ball forward I don't know how many times today, early. Good work from Glover out on the right. Half cleared by Woking, only as far as Whittingham. Whittingham chips a ball into the right channel, he's given it away, but the loose ball's fallen to Aldershot. Corey Jordan's picked it up. John, would it be fair of me to say that although Aldershot are down to 10 since the red card, it's not obvious to the eye?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Not sure if I agree with the cliche that's often trotted out, but it's harder to play against 10 than it is 11. But
It's
certainly,
Phillips marching through the middle, and he's brought down. Jermaine Anderson's going to get a yellow card. That'll be the fourth one of the afternoon for Woking. I'm a big believer, John, certainly from the days I was playing and what I've seen, that I do believe that the 10 men all give 10% more, and strangely, reverse psychology, the 11 men think they've got that extra man, they give 10% less. That's probably what evens it out.
yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see, won't we?
We will see.
But at the moment, your theory is bearing out, because Aldershot haven't really been affected by it.
And they've actually had more of the ball in the second half than they did the first. They've created more. Kinsella's going to take this free kick. It's central-ish, left of centre. Runners forward now. In comes the ball. Headed up in the air and away by Annesley, I think it was. And then Woking will get the second ball as well. But Tavan Campbell's dispossessed by Jaden Harris, who's going down the right-hand side now. He's getting to the byline, tries to get his cross in. Deflection. Corner. Oh no, it's not been given as a corner, and the East Bank don't like it. It's been given as a goal kick, and we can't possibly tell from here, so we'll have to assume the referee's got that one right, John. Goal kick to Woking.
Yeah, and Campbell losing the ball in a dangerous area. That's not really where you want to start trying to go on the half turn.
Yeah, and it's an area where Aldershot won't mind him picking up the ball as well. They won't want him getting the ball on the half turn on the edge of their penalty area. Here come Woking down the right-hand side. Lofthouse on for Block, gives it back to Kretschmar. Kretschmar goes back to Champion. Champion across to McNerney. I'm Rob Worrell, alongside me is John Moore. You're listening to a 8-hour BBC Sussex Radio and BBC Radio Surrey special. Later on the second half, we'll be focusing on Brighton's evening kickoff with Johnny Cantor, Warren Aspinall and Adrian Harms. At the moment though, here is yet to be decided where the points are going. Are they staying in North East Hampshire? Are they being split one each? Or are Woking going to come here and end a wretched run of 7 straight Derby Day defeats against Aldershot Town over the last 4 seasons? Annesley out to the left-hand side to Tyreeki Johnson, who's taking Glover for a ride. Cross comes in, header up, cleared. Anderson picks it up on the edge of the box, gives it to Kretschmar. Kretschmar with the cross in. Walker comes, doesn't get it. Effiong does. He goes down. Nothing given. Aldershot player went down as well. Ball comes off of Champion. Throw in Aldershot. Anything doing there, Mr. Moore?
No, not at all.
Thank you very much. Don't mind a yes or a no answer. That'll do for me. Throw into Aldershot. And I think one thing that's vital for Aldershot, as Glover now is go down, needs a bit of treatment. Down to 10 men, they do need athletes like Jaden Harris, who's come on and is probably the player in the Aldershot Town side that certainly I feel, based on what I've seen this season, is probably the unluckiest not to be in that starting lineup. I don't think it'll be long before he's one of the first names on the sheet each week again.
And the other thing from an Aldershot point of view is that they mustn't drop too deep. You know, the temptation is to sit back, particularly when you're a man down. And you know, Woking have up the attacking intent, particularly bringing on the wing back Lofthouse, who is very, very good at getting forward, and he's got lots of pace.
Well, have Woking got that extra gear against Aldershot's 10 men to try and find a winner? They've got 19.5 minutes plus added time to do so. Ryan Glover is still down receiving treatment for the shots. And excuse me, listeners. We've seen more activity on the Aldershot Town bench. Ben Schroll might well be coming on here as the rain falls for the first time today. Wasn't expected this afternoon, quite a bit overnight and this morning, but it's now coming down here. A little bit of zip and fizz on the pitch for the finale. It's the end of Ryan Glover's afternoon. I'm not sure. Something muscle related by the looks of it. Very stiff-legged as he limps off here. No question of any gamesmanship there. It's the end of his afternoon, and so Ben Schroll's going to come on. Are Aldershot going to go? Well, let's keep an eye on the formation. Any formation change here? I think most likely Christian Oxlade-Chamberlain will push out to be the right wing back. That would appear to be the case. Schroll comes in on the right side of Corey Jordan. Giles Phillips first came back. They would have probably liked, ideally, to have brought Schroll in for him late on, John. First game back with no competitive minutes under his belt. He's probably got to go the distance now. Good ball down the line from Tarvin Campbell, and Phillips pokes it into touch, and it'll be a throw into Woking down by the corner flag away to our right at the High Street end, John.
And immediately Wabuke on the ball, getting to places that Casey didn't.
Throw in then.
So it's very much an attacking substitution.
Yep, we'll see if that manifests itself. Andrews tries to get a touch, don't think he does, but the following throw-in's given to Woking. Into Kinsella holding his man up tight, going down to the ground and possibly earning a yellow card. Let's see for Kinsella. What it has done is a free kick on the edge of the box for Woking. It's only 8-9 yards out from the goal, but it's on this right hand side, and the I didn't catch who the foul was on.
Kretschmar.
It was Kretschmar, beg your pardon. Thank you very much indeed, John.
And Kinsella not yellow carded.
Not
so
yellow.
There you go. You were wishing him into the book.
Oh, that's right. We've both tried to do it now, and there's got to be one coming along at some point. 17 minutes to go. Aldershot 0, Woking 0. The rain falling. The shot's down to 10. And in comes the free kick, driven low and hard and powered with a header over the top from Mo Silla. Shots taking no chances. Anything skidding off a leg or a limb or a head could end up in the back of the net, couldn't it? It's the right kind of ball, John. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
It was an important header from Willard as well. He kept his eye on the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'd be very easy to head that in your own net.
That's it. Silla with a header. Yeah, Mo Silla. So it's going to be. Is it Tyriki, John? I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyriki with the corner. In it comes low, headed away by Whittingham, only as far as Tyriki Johnson. He comes back in with another cross. It's very deep. It's over everybody. And when you've got giants like McNerney and Effiong at the back, John, well, I think probably, although the listeners wouldn't appreciate it, your head in your hands there kind of described it pretty well for me. Can you describe it to the listeners, though?
Certainly. First one, too short. Got to beat the first defender. Didn't. Luckily got it back and then overhit it out for a goal kick. What a waste of an opportunity. Particularly when you've got a big side like Woking. A set-piece delivery during the season has been so poor, and that epitomised it.
Here is Mabuke. He's given the ball away, though. Harris it is who's got it. Lovely skill from him. Gets away from him, his man. He's pulled back. He wins the free kick. The foul is from Mabuke. And Aldershot have a chance. And well, there's a mode you can go to in Football Manager when you're down to 10 men. You hit the play for set pieces button. Pretty much what Aldershot have got to do here. I mean, they're probably not going to get too many clear-cut chances now.
No, but when Harris is on the ball, he shows a lot of composure. He doesn't just get rid of it. He wants to take his man on and drive into the space.
Kinsella lifts in the free kick forward. It's a straightforward catch. Oh, it was a straightforward catch for Ross, but he dropped it almost right at the feet of Corey Jordan, who just kind of switched off a bit. He might have had a tap in if he'd kept his eye on that.
Harris goes to ground to win the ball, can't win it, then he does poke it into touch. Effiong it was that had possession. They take it quickly, the throw, Woking, pop it inside. Mabukai is poked it back to McNerney, and Champion picks it up. He's got a lot of room in front of him, but he gives the ball away to Kinsella. It's picked up by Mo Silla. Silla's making a forward run, gives it inside to Kinsella. Kinsella gets the free kick. The Aldershot Town crowd call for a second yellow. The referee sends Aldershot Town players away. I think it's a free kick and nothing more. John?
I wasn't even convinced it was a free kick. It definitely wasn't worthy of another card.
Yeah, well, we're agreed on that. Yeah, fair to say Kinsella made the most of it. He knew it was coming. He leapt up in the air. And McNerney was kind of suckered into that one, I think. But it, referee, I think, probably just about got it right.
It's a little warning sign, isn't it, to McNerney that he needs to be careful. He's already been sent off.
77th minute, Kinsella stands over this free kick out on the left-hand side. In it comes, that's a better delivery. It's headed away though by a Woking player. Kretschmar should move on to it. Whittingham dives in, misses the ball. Kretschmar has got room to go through. Plays it inside and, it doesn't find its target, and Aldershot win it. Kretschmar then takes Whittingham out. And I think surely Kretschmar has to get yellow, doesn't he, for that? Referee's just trying to calm things down a little bit. He can't be waving cards every minute of the day. Then there's not fisticuffs, but hand slapping between Anderson and Corey Jordan. Possibly just going to be a free kick Aldershot here. What do you reckon, John?
I don't think the referee will book Kretschmar. I think he'll probably just not even take any action at all.
No action.
I think he just sort of tangled with his arms more than anything. I think it looked worse than it was.
And Jermaine Anderson then came in and had a little argument
and distracted the referee.
It
was a free kick.
Yeah, and
no
he's
two
now
ways
taken
about that.
his talking to Anderson, arms by his side. Excellent body language, the sort of body language that a referee will give you a little talking to and then let you get on with it. And that's how to do it. You get pulled by the ref, you start giving him a dissent, more likely to end up in the yellow card. Free kick to Aldershot in their own half. Laurie Walker will take. He's going to pay it up to the final line. I think out to the left channel, looking for Corey Andrews, but it's going to go straight on the head of McNerney. Easy winner for him. Headed back by Silla, taken down by Wabuke, squared across by Woking, and then out to Ini Effiong, who plays the ball back into the path of Tyreeka Johnson. He plays it inside to Jermaine Anderson. We're in the 79th minute, still goalless here at the EBB. That shots are down to 10. Into the right hand side, shot comes in from Jermaine Anderson, always going over the bar. He's got a goal or two in him, we know that. He scored 2 of the 3 goals in this very match last year for Aldershot. Now he's wearing the blue of Woking, and he's had better moments in front of goal than that, John Moore.
Yeah, he didn't look confident at all, did he, when the ball came to him. Decent work by Lofthouse down the right-hand side. Woking need more of that if they're going to get anything out of this game.
Well, what is significant about that, John, with 11 minutes to go, it's the first effort on goal Woking have had in the second half, and that's despite playing best part of half of it against 10 men. We must give you goal updates, yes, plural again, from Dorking. 7-0 and 8-0 for Dorking against 10 men Havant and Waterlooville in the National League South. Goal kicks taken, a couple of headers, drops at the feet of McNerney. He chips it forward, that will find touch. And if Woking are to have their first draw of the season, I guess it may be viewed from a positive or a negative perspective. John, will your cup be half full or half empty if it ends 0-0?
Half full. An away point is always welcome, but when you're playing against a side down to 10 men, you'd expect to get more. And certainly Woking's second half performance really hasn't been anywhere near their first half performance. There hasn't been any rhythm to their game at all. All right, Aldershot have played a lot better, but Woking haven't really got going, and they've certainly not posed any attacking threat at all this half.
7th best away record in the National League, Woking, and up against 10 men, but at the moment it's Aldershot who are in their half with 10 men. Oxlade-Chamberlain probably taking on the wrong man there in the very lively Tyreek Johnson. The ball's lifted forward into the right channel, cut out by Annesley. Will that find touch? No. Anderson does really well and just pokes it into the path of a Woking player, and then the referee gets a touch on it. Kretschmar will pick it up. Silla's motoring back. Kretschmar tries the ball through, and Phillips makes a hash of his clearance, and the ball's been picked up by Taven Campbell now. He's in the penalty area, surrounded by 3 or 4 shots players. Pokes it out to the right-hand side. Cross comes in. Can Campbell get a shot away here into a pile of bodies? Now Anderson's got it on the edge of the box. Will it come in from the right-hand side? It's blocked by Kinsella. Big cheers around the EBB because Aldershot stood up strong there. Campbell couldn't find himself half a yard of space.
Yeah, good defending from Aldershot. No one dived in.
Mabukai back to McNerney. Molesley so animated down in front of us here. The ball's out to the left-hand side, and a cross comes in. It's headed away by Corey Jordan. Whittingham lets it bounce. I'm not sure if that was the right decision. Then he clears it forward off of the Woking player. He does well there, Whittingham, and he wins the throw for the Shots. Torquay are now going through the gears against 10-man Yeovil. 3-0 up there, and Stockport County are 5-1 up against Altrincham. Here at the EBB, Aldershot and Woking, the two sides who've drawn the least in the National League this season, are drawing with 8 minutes plus added time to go. Woking, of course, haven't drawn all season, but they'll want to go one better than they're on at the minute. Goalless it is at the minute. Of course, these two sides will go again in a week's time at Woking. Kinsella checks. Well, Kinsella is going to get his yellow card now. Probably just for the number of fouls rather than particularly that one on Lofthouse, John.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
First yellow card of the afternoon for the Shots, but they have had a red. Alfie Saunders was shown red in the 54th minute. We're now in the 83rd, and up to this point, Woking have just mustered the one chance second half against the 10 men. They have a free kick down near myself and John on the right-hand side. Kinsella kicks it a little bit further away from where it was. Kretschmar's going to take it just a yard inside the touchline, about 30-35 yards out from goal. High defensive line, just Kinsella in the wall. In comes the ball, it's dropped into corridor of uncertainty. Header comes in, and it's just about bundled away by Walker, and it falls fortuitously into the path of Corey Andrews. Chips the ball forward. Whittingham's going to run onto that. Ross is miles out of his goal. Lifts it with enough purchase into the stand that Aldershot can, that Woking can get players back before the throw-in's taken. Walker just about did what was needed back there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did well. It was a decent delivery from Kretschmar, though.
It's a delivery what the words corridor of uncertainty were written for, weren't they? That's what it was.
Most definitely.
Kinsella with the throw, halfway inside the Woking half. The shot's down to 10, but they're still very much in this one. McNerney wins it, and then Kinsella's won it. He goes into the penalty area, edge of the area. Penalty to Aldershot! Right on the edge of the area. Kinsella brought down, the referee thought about it. He's given it. We've got 6 minutes left plus added time. The Shot's down to 10 men. Have a chance to take a late lead here. I think it was a foul right on the line. I wouldn't like to say, John Moore, your verdict.
I thought it was a penalty. It was a determined run from Kinsella, and I thought the Woking player caught him most definitely. The only question mark was whether it was inside or outside the box, and the referee made the decision straight away.
It's a while since Aldershot Town have had a penalty, and at the moment it's unclear who's going to take it. I think it'll be Corey Andrews. He's just come away from the scene right now while the referee's just talking to the players about what he wants around the edge of the box. The 85-minute mark passes, so we're into the 86th minute here at the East Bank end. Corey Andrews steps up and smashes it home! High down the middle! And
the Shots players celebrate in front of the East Bank, and somehow, some way, 10 men Aldershot Town have got themselves a precious lead with 4.5 minutes to go until full time here in the Boxing Day derby. Aldershot Town 1, Woking 0.
And that's how to take a penalty under pressure. There was never any doubt. He just stepped up and smashed it high down the middle. 1-0 to the Shots.
It's tough one for Woking to swallow. But for a man who hasn't been bagging him in as frequently as Tavan Campbell, Corey Andrews had a lot of time to think about it, stepped up and smashed it home.
He did.
Craig Ross not too happy, is he?
I don't know. I'm just looking at what's going on. Joe McNerney's gone off for Woking.
Okay,
and,
good spot.
Lewis Britton has come on, so obviously Woking now have to go for it. And
well,
and that goal just came out of nothing, didn't it?
It did.
I've spoken about Kinsella.
Yeah.
Well, it was great work from Kinsella.
Yeah, and now Aldershot have something to hold on to in terms of a goal. But here's a direct run on the right-hand side, and Woking coming through, but they've overrun it, won it back again. On the right-hand side, Lofthouse, cross comes in from Champion to the far post, headed back down into the path of Effiong, picks it up, cross comes in, headed away by Ben Schroll. Woking have got it on the edge of the area. Offside given against Lofthouse, who, John, very similar to Kinsella, got the ball and just blasted into the penalty area, very direct. Kinsella down with cramp now.
Yeah.
There's a flare gone off in the East Bank at the, well, I can't see where it's gone off, but it appears as if it's come from, it's blown over to the Woking side, but it won't have come, of course, from the Woking side. It's red. And Aldershot have a free kick and a chance just to catch their breath, as we do too, John.
Yeah, let's give credit to Kinsella. He's led by example. He found himself in a forward position. He got his head down. He ran at the Woking defence and drew that foul.
And he went down spectacularly. I don't doubt that he made the most of it, but the challenge did come in. Pretty much, from where we're looking here, right sort of on the line, it was a big decision for the ref. A lot of referees would have probably given free kick outside the box, but we press on. Kretschmar lifting the ball over the top, and it's headed away by Schroll. He keeps his foot in, and it's picked up by Silla. Silla plays it back to Kinsella, out of his feet, drills it down, looking for Andrews. Andrews up against Champion. Andrews brings down Champion. Free kick inside their own half. Referee lets it go. It's taken slightly out of position, but Lofthouse it is on the ball now, surging down the right-hand side. He pulls it back to Kretschmar. Kretschmar looks to lift the ball in, headed up and away by Schroll again. Whittingham will volley through the ball. We're in the 89th minute. There's a minute and a quarter to go plus added time. Aldershot are going to make a third substitution. Tommy Willard will enter the fray shortly. Cross into the box from Woking, headed away by Jordan. It will be picked up by Jaden Harris. He's lost it. Kinsella onto the ball. Is he fouled? No. Offside given against Tavan Campbell, who fires his shot wide anyway. It will be a free kick to Aldershot Town, who, John, at this point, with a minute plus added time to go, look as if incredibly they're going to win an 8th consecutive Shots Cards derby in the league.
Although I do think there'll be quite a lot of added time.
Yep.
Kretschmar
Totally
was
agree.
down for a while. I would think there'll be at least 5 or 6 minutes.
Yep.
And a lot can happen, but
a long way to go. A long way to go in terms of Aldershot Town, that's for sure. But in terms of the player coming off for the Shots, well, Willard is coming on. I'm not quite sure yet who it is. Is the referee going to... Oh, is it Corey Andrews? He can't believe he's being taken off, but he generally didn't realise it was him. He comes off now. Just fresh legs up front, down the middle from Willard. Andrews has given his all for the cause. He's got his goal, his 8th goal of the season in the National League. Laurie Walker takes the free kick. It'll go straight into touch, and Woking will quickly have possession. 6 added minutes of squeaky bottom time for the Shots. 6 minutes for Woking to try and gain something they haven't got in 4 years. And that's a point against Aldershot in the league, and something they've not had all season, a point in the league, because they've had wins or losses. Kretschmar with the ball in, headed back towards his own goal by Jordan, off balance, and Walker clutches it, goes to ground, grateful. And my goodness me, I don't think it ever looked like it would beat him, but that was a wobbly moment at the back for Shots.
Well, it's a telling perspective from a Woking point of view that that's the first save Walker's had to make. And it's from his own player in the second half.
Yeah, header on target from Jordan to Walker. And the ball's now at the other end. Woking have got a throw, and it's thrown back inside quickly to Craig Ross. It's a stunned Woking faithful, 643 of them over there behind the East Bank and in the final section of the South Stand. But this one's not done yet. Here's Tavan Campbell holding the ball up with his back to Phillips. He's got the beating of him. He clips the ball into the far post. Is headed away, but only as far as Lofthouse. And Lofthouse hits the ball into the ground. Walker had dived early, had to wait for the bounce, and then scruffily pushed it behind for a corner. Lewis Kinsella, the Shot skipper, is the man of the match, but he won't care about that right now. He will want a clean sheet that would mean an Aldershot victory. In comes the corner from Tyreeki Johnson to the near post, headed away by Whittingham. Volley's going to come in from Kretschmar. Bodies on the line, Aldershot might have a counter-attack. Whittingham plays it to Willard. Willard's got 3 players chasing him. He's going forward, he shoots. And it hits the post and comes out across the goal from Willard. Hits the foot of the post, rebounds to safety for Woking. Was Whittingham fouled? I don't know, but the referee played the advantage anyway. Oh my word, massive chance for Aldershot to put it to bed, but now Woking come again, and this game's coming alive. Here's Lofthouse, he beats Kinsella and Whittingham. Ball comes in. Oh, Kinsella misses his touch, then he misses the ball. Penalty to Woking. Lewis Kinsella clean missed his clearance, and he kicked the man instead, and the one who won the penalty for the Shots has now given one away at the other end. Well, will that be the only punishment, because Kinsella's on the yellow card in the 94th minute of a minimum of 96. The Cards have got a penalty. Quick word from you, John Moore.
Well, what an extraordinary minute. We had Aldershot going up the other end, hitting the post, could have put the game beyond doubt, and then Lewis Kinsella goes from hero to villain, missing the kick, and it was a penalty all day long. Can Woking convert it?
Max Kretschmar is going to step up at the High Street end with a chance to balance the books, a chance to get a point in the Hampshire-Surrey derby, and a chance to equal the penalty that Corey Andrews put away some 6 or 7 minutes earlier. Kretschmar steps up against Laurie Walker, takes a deep breath and sends him the wrong way. Walker dives to the right. Kretschmar goes just right of centre, and Woking have levelled, and they've grabbed the ball. They still fancy they can win this one. Late drama here at the EBB. The Shots taking the lead in the 85th minute. Woking pulling things level in the 5th minute of a minimum of 6 to be added. Shots 1, Woking 1.
And a great finish there from Kretschmar, again under huge pressure, kept his head and drilled it hard and low down the middle.
Kinsella, who's been awarded the man of the match, who won the penalty, has now got to take it on the chin that he's given away the penalty. And Tommy Willard hit the post in the counter-attack breakaway just before that. Aldershot would have won it 2-0, or gone 2-0 up at least. But Woking went down the other end. They won the penalty. Kinsella just mistimed his clearance, caught the man instead of the ball. No qualms about the penalty, had to be. And now we're evenly balanced at 1-1. We're in the final moments here at the EBB. How much extra time will referee Daniel Middleton hang on? Kretschmar lifts the ball over the top. Phillips, who's going to go 90 plus on his return to football. And now Annesley comes forward, plays it out to the left-hand side. Woking have got an overlapping run. It's overhit behind the goal, and it'll be a goal kick to Aldershot. Will that be the final action? Finally, John, it looks like Woking are going to get a draw in the National League this season, and a draw in the Shotts Cards derby for the first time in 4 seasons.
Yeah, it looks that way, Rob. I did say to you that I thought there was going to be another twist and turn, because, you know, the amount of added time gave Woking that opportunity.
Laurie Walker steps up, takes the goal kick. The final whistle is blown, and it's Aldershot Town 1, Woking 1. It's the 7th game unbeaten for the Shotts. 5 wins and a draw in that time. And whilst Aldershot led late on and had a golden opportunity with Tommy Willard to wrap it up, which hit the foot of the post with the goalkeeper beaten, Woking have come back with their penalty and got themselves a point. Final summing up from John Moore.
Wow, what a breathless last 5 or so minutes. Aldershot had the better of the second half, Woking had the better of the first half. Aldershot down to 10 men, they showed great character, won a penalty, but they just couldn't hang on at the depth. Woking showed good character, never to give up, but, you know, wearing my Woking hat, I think they'll be disappointed, really. They played well in the first half, they weren't able to continue playing that way in the second half. They allowed Aldershot back into the game and were always up against 10 men. Should have done better, but came away with a point.
That's John Moore. I've been Rob Warren. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage this afternoon. Listen out for post-match over the next hour or so. But as I hand back to Tim Durrance, a scintillating second half, late drama, Tim, and it's ended on as even here at the EBB. Aldershot Town 1, Woking 1.
Wow, great stuff, gentlemen. Thank you. 1-1 draw. Rob off to get reaction. We'll get reaction from both camps, manager and player, hopefully. That'll all be after the news at 5. Don't forget, 6, we're looking back at the year, and then at 7, we get ready for the Albion Brentford. It is 5 o'clock on BBC Sussex and Surrey.
With the BBC News at 5, I'm Anna Preston. Tributes are being paid to Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who's died at the age of 90. He was one of the driving forces behind the anti-apartheid movement, winning a Nobel Peace Prize. The former US President Barack Obama said he'd been a mentor, friend and moral compass. The former Archbishop of York, Lord Sentamu, called Desmond Tutu a man of extraordinary faith.
He was like a bird. When birds fly and they take off, always their feet are pointing downwards. That's why they're able to land properly. And for him, he was so rooted in Christ that therefore he feared nothing. He always had this amazing faith.
The trailblazing radio presenter Janice Long has died after a short illness. She was 66. In a career spanning 5 decades, Long was a household name in the 1980s, the first woman to get a regular daytime show on Radio 1 and one of the first women to present Top of the Pops. Speaking to the Radio Today podcast in 2014, she said she had the best job in the world.
I am so lucky. I've done things that I would never have dreamt of doing. You know, I was part of covering Perestroika, Glasnost, Live Aid. I've met so many people. I've gone to festivals. I've got free records. I couldn't wish for anything else.
New COVID rules have come into force in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland to stem the surge in infections of the Omicron variant. All 3 nations have introduced restrictions on the hospitality and leisure industries, resumed social distancing measures and put limits on the size of gatherings. There's been a rise in people coming forward for a first COVID vaccine dose. More than 221,000 first jabs were given in England between the 15th and 21st of December, up 46% on the week before. A survey suggests consumers will do a greater share of their post-Christmas sale shopping online and spend more overall. Barclaycard Payments predicts people will spend £247 on average in this year's sales, up from £85 on 2020 and £61 on 2019. With Next keeping its doors shut on Boxing Day for the first time, the retail expert Dr. Sarah Montano says huge queues on the high street becoming a thing of the past.
We don't tend to see quite the same thing these days, of course, because now we have online sales, and for the retailer it's a lot easier they can start their sales earlier, and we actually saw Harrods do this year, in that Harrods started their sale online.
And a Staffordshire Bull Terrier from Devon has undergone life-saving surgery after eating 6 packets of Christmas chocolate coins. Hugo's owner found all of the chocolate had gone, with the wrappers strewn on the floor of their home in Plymouth. You're up to date. It's 3 minutes past 5.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Travel.
If you're out and about on this Boxing Day early evening, the main roads look pretty clear. Looks like no major problems on the M25, the M4 or the M3 or the M23 in our area. The B2104 closed from Hailsham because of an accident involving 2 cars there. All looks clear heading down the M23 towards the Amex course. The Albion kicking off quite a bit later at 8 o'clock, so things all right if you're heading down a little early there. Public transport for you, reduced service across the network on Avanti West Coast because of a shortage of train crews, and 1 or 2 roadworks to look out for in Emsworth. North Street's closed from the Anchor roundabout to the B2147. In Esher, Claremont Lane, gas main work and a contraflow around Milbourne Lane. In Horsham, roadworks there, so there's 1 lane closed on the A264 at Rusper Road roundabout, and electricity work is closed New Inn Lane in Guildford from London Road to Grosvenor Court. Travel you trust, more in half an hour.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Yes, good evening. We're into the final hour of the first half of our sports special, 8 hours today. I'm Tim Durrans. Good evening. In the non-league conference derby, it was goalless towards the end, and then drama late on at the EBB Stadium.
Steps up and smashes it home, high down the middle, and the Shots players celebrate in front of the East Bank.
Stoppage time penalty for the Shots. They score it, and then a stoppage time equaliser for Woking.
Kretschmar steps up against Laurie Walker, takes a deep breath and sends him the wrong way. Walker dives to the right. Kretschmar goes just right of centre, and Woking have levelled.
If you want to call us, if you're coming out of the EBB Stadium now, I'll give you the numbers. Do get in touch. It'd be lovely to hear from you. We'll have a final whistle after the Albion game, but do get in contact this evening as well. In the National League South, we're going to hear a story in a moment of an 8-0 win for Dorking Wanderers. They've gone 5th in the National League South after thrashing their rivals Havant and Waterlooville. In the Premier League, Manchester City thump limited Leicester with injuries and COVID. 6-3 in the end. 5-0 for Arsenal at Norwich. 3-0 for Spurs at home to Palace. And Southampton win 3-2 at West Ham, who are wavering. In the big race of the day, it is Tornado Flyer, who's a shot winner in the King George at 28-1. Did you have a flutter on that? And England in trouble in the test. 185 all out on day 1. Australia 61-1 in reply. Ooh, breathless stuff at the EBB Stadium. We will have reaction from both camps in the next half hour or so. But let's go to our feature game in National League South. I joked at half-time that our reporter Les Freeman might have to take off his socks and shoes. I think you did need them in the end, Les. What a game, 8-0.
Well, what can I say? We certainly didn't expect that to happen today. The game was really shaped by the red card, I think, early on. And I don't think I haven't ever really recovered from it, but I've got to say this sort of performance in Dorking has been threatening for a while, and I think today just everything really started to come right. I think even with 11 men, they'd have had trouble holding us up today. Alfie Rutherford absolutely on fire, and hat-trick, man of the match performance today. And obviously being ex-Havant, they were throwing inflatable snakes at him. Along with Jason Pryor and Josh Taylor. So there's obviously a bit of big Amazon push on inflatable snakes this week. But Havant really could not cope with us today. And the fans are certainly venting some anger at Lord Doswell on the board in the stand after what they saw to be a very shallow performance. They never really managed to get any foothold in the game at all. A few free kicks and corners they had, poor deliveries. There just wasn't much to write home about for them at all. Jason Pryor got the second half going with his second goal after 58 minutes. And after good work from Barry Fuller, Matt Briggs tapped in after 78 minutes. And then substitute Jimmy Mewett, icing on the cake with the 8th goal after 82. And that was following on from McManus and 3 Alfies and a Pryor in the first half. To be fair to their keeper, Will Manning actually pulled off 4 or 5 good saves. So it could have been actually gloves and socks off if he hadn't been in such good form. But it was a great afternoon for a Dorking fan, an absolutely miserable one for a Havant fan. And we go there next Sunday for the return fixture, expecting probably a fairly lively welcome. But here we go at Meadowbank today with the scoreboard shining through the descending fog. Dorking Wanderers 8, Havant and Waterlooville 0.
Wonderful stuff, Les. Very quickly, Dorking then 5th tonight. Game in hand on Oxford City, who are 4 points above Wanderers. Your Goldovans now plus 13. There's 15. So real concertina effect, that result, for points for the Goldovans and for what we heard Mark White tell us before the game was he felt things were coming right. Jason Pryor was returning. Things are looking good for the second half of your campaign.
Absolutely. And I really think that now we've got this under our belt, I think the confidence will really shine on now. And the injuries are starting to subside a little. And I think Mark will be a very happy man today, unlike the Havant changing room.
Indeed. Les, thank you very much for your time today. Enjoy a glass of something soft this evening. Yeah, and a good win for Dorking Wanderers. That's Les Freeman helping us out today. We'll talk live to the Dorking manager in the next half hour or so, Mark White. We've got an ear on the EBB Stadium where Aldershot went ahead just before the end of the match with a late penalty. It looked like the winner, and then Woking getting a penalty in the 4th of 6 stoppage time minutes. So 1-1 draw. Can you believe it? Woking's first draw of the season. They'd lost 11, they had won 8. They're the situation now, Woking 14th at 25 points, so they're 10 points off the playoff places, and Aldershot 21 points, so they stay 4 points behind Woking. But more importantly, they are 7 points clear of trouble, Aldershot Town tonight. So a decent point for them. It's 5 wins and a couple of draws, something like that, 4 wins and a couple of draws. So unbeaten run for Aldershot Town continues, and we'll get some reaction with Rob and the team at the EBB Stadium as soon as we have it. A reminder, between 6 and 7 tonight, we will look back at the sporting year, the Sussex Sports Awards. We'll pay tribute to Ted Dexter, of course, the great Sussex and England legend who sadly passed away this year. We'll look back on retirement of Joe Conter as well from Eastbourne, and we'll have an Olympic look back at the stories from the Olympics and the Paralympics as well. Our Premier League action begins at 7. We'll get team news on at 7 because the Albion are at home at 8 o'clock tonight against Brentford. Full live commentary. We'll begin the build-up in the 6 to 7 hour. We'll have Adrian will have a chat with Johnny and Warren. And then from 7, full, intense build-up. We'll hear previews. We'll look back. Johnny will at his 3 key moments of the year. And then, of course, full live commentary from 7 o'clock. If you want to give us a call, this is how to do it. If you're an Aldershot or a Woking fan, or maybe even a Dorking fan, or you can even call us if you're an Albion fan on your way to the Amex, with your thoughts on what you think. These are the numbers.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Call 0800 587 1046. BBC Radio Surrey.
Yes, do call us if you wish. Mel, ready to take your call. The situation then in the Premier League with the Albion kicking off at 8 o'clock tonight. As things stand tonight, Manchester City with that remarkable 6-3 win are 6 points clear at the top of Liverpool, who haven't played today. Of course, their game, 1 of 3 called off for COVID postponements. The City game looked like this, remarkable match. Man City led. Let's get this right. 3-0, 4-0 at half-time. Then Leicester got 3 goals. Maddison, Lookman and Ian Atshow. I think they got it back to 4-3. Then Laporte got a 5th. And then, Sterling with a penalty or a goal just before the end to give City, in the end, a relatively comfortable win against an understrength Leicester by 6 goals to 3. So Man City, 6 points, clear daylight at the top of the Premier League. Norwich 0, Arsenal 5. So Arsenal 4th, 6 points clear of Spurs in 6th, because Spurs today, of course, had their game. Whereas Spurs here, had a good, comfortable win, 3-0 at home to Palace. Palace had Zaha sent off. So wins for Arsenal and Spurs today, and a huge win for Southampton, 3-2 at West Ham. So that means that West Ham are 6th now. Spurs go above them. Remember, West Ham were, you could say, a comfortable 4th place at one stage. They're now 6th. 7 points adrift of Arsenal, a point adrift of Spurs, just a point clear of Manchester United in 7th, who've got, 2 or 3 games in hand on some of the sides with their COVID issues, of course, including the Albion game. The Albion Esting stand before the kick-off tonight, 13th. They have 20 points from their 16. Brentford have 20 from their 16. It's those two that meet at the Amex for you tonight. Right, let's get our first reaction of the evening then. Aldershot Town drawing 1-1. They got a late penalty, looked like they might have won it. Then Woking given a equalising penalty in stoppage time. It finished 1-1. Let's return to the EBB Stadium where our commentator Rob Worrell is with the Aldershot Town manager Mark Molesley.
Mark, you haven't had long to compose yourself. I guess you've just been through every emotion possible in those last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of a game, especially that second half. I felt first half we were a bit wishy-washy, didn't quite execute how we would have liked. Thought we were a little bit on the back foot, but they're an honest bunch and they rallied well second half. Obviously the sending off is a game-changing situation. One which probably looked a little bit overzealous. I'm not sure, but he won the ball, but it was quite far away from me, so it's hard to comment. But then we're faced with being down to 10 men in a derby, so it was always going to be difficult. But the way the lads rallied, and again the fight and the endeavour, spurred on by a great crowd here, we was just so close to pulling it off, but unfortunately had a cruel blow at the end.
Is it testimony to your side and how well they reorganised that? To the naked eye, it wasn't abundantly obvious that it was 10 against 11 for long periods.
No, and good from the lads that that situation will serve us well in the future. I said that to them, that we've gone down to 10 and we've got ourselves organised and we were still hard to beat, and we were so close to job done, agonisingly close. But in these games and the way the game ebbed and flowed is that first and foremost you don't want to lose the game, and we've taken a point today. And maybe we shouldn't underestimate that under the circumstances. It's been a tough few weeks for us actually. You're looking forward to trying to get players back, but with COVID hanging around, all my staff were missing today. They were glued to it at home. So we've had a disjointed sort of couple of weeks with what's going on, as well. No excuses at all. That's what's the nature and what's happening. But all in all, when you wrap it up and you see how everything's done, we're still 7 unbeaten.
Yeah, it's an excellent run, Mark. And if I said you've been through all the emotions, I guess your skipper will too, because he's won a penalty at one end and then inadvertently given one away at the other end. No complaints, I guess, for that.
Yeah, I don't know whether the guys probably could see that he was about to volley it and stepped in, and whether he preempted that and went down, but again it looked like there was contact, so it's a shame. It was just one of those last desperation and tiredness, because those boys put an absolute shift in out there, and a bit of confusion. We had a chance to clear our lines and didn't quite doing it, and then the chaos ensued, and but look, these things happen.
And prior to that, of course, maybe you visualised that Tommy Willard might get a little breakaway opportunity, which is why you threw him on late on. Yeah. He got it. He did pretty well with 3 Woking players trailing in his wake. Shot across goal and agonisingly came back off the foot of the post. That would have made it 2-0, of course. It
would have made it 2-0, and they've almost gone down the other end, and that's where the penalty comes. So that's what the game was on a knife edge, and that's football. So close to making it 2-0, and now we're down the other end. They've countered, and we haven't quite cleared our lines, and we've done so well all game. That's why it makes it so agonising at the moment, especially that would have been a great victory against our rivals. We're down to 10 men. We're showing all the right characteristics, and we're learning all the time.
So you will, of course, go to Woking in a week's time for the return derby match. But prior to then, a bit of business to do in about 44 hours or so. Dagenham away. They don't come much tougher, decent side. And from your point of view, like to have any more personnel available? Scott Wagstaff not involved today?
Scott Wagstaff has come out of his isolation now, so Scott Wagstaff will be available, which is great news. We're getting minutes into people. You know, Giles Phillips deserves a special mention again. It was Ben Schroll who stepped in and done 90 minutes last week, and now Giles Phillips has done it this week. With it just shows that they've done well, and the squad is hopefully going to get a little bit bigger with the players coming back. And one thing I've learned since I've been here with the players is that anyone can play, anyone can step up, and we've certainly had to do that since we've been here, and those players are taking their chances. So competition will be fierce when everyone comes back, and that's what you want. But also hopefully might have the luxury of trying to balance the minutes over these 3 games, because 2 games in such quick succession, and who knows what players will be available tomorrow.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for joining us so quickly after the game. All the best, Mark Molesley.
Cheers, thank you.
That's the Aldershot Town manager. Yes, thank you, Rob. Aldershot Town manager, our first out of the gate for reaction. We'll try and get you someone from the Woking camp, maybe a player from each as well. So if you just joined us, it finished Aldershot 1, Woking 1. So if you want to give us a call, 0800 232 1045 or 1046, 0800 232 1045 or 1046. What did you make of that? At BBC Surrey Sport or at BBC Sussex Sports. So that's the game in the feature in the Conference National, in Conference South. Dorking Wanderers hit Havant and Waterloo for 8, so they're up to 5th. Mark Whiteside, we'll speak to him in a moment's time. But the other big sporting event away from the football in our patch today, I don't know if you went, was the racing at Kempton Park. It was the King George back with fans after last year's behind closed doors, and they saw a shock and a great finish. John Hunt picks up the story.
Coming to the third last, and there St Calvados was joined by Clandays Oboe. 2 Nichols runners, 1 and 2. Will they be upset by Tornado Flyer though? On the outside of the field, Asterion Forlange back in 4th place. It's going to be the Paul Nichols or Willie Mullins, and now as they jump the second last fence, it's Tornado Flyer who has come through to hit the front. This would be a stunning shock. Clandays Oboe's got nothing left to give, so now Asterion Forlange moves second. A 1-2 at the last fence for Willie Mullins. Asterion Forlange falls at the last. That leaves Tornado Flyer clear of the field. Clandays Oboe's in second, followed by St Calvados. But one of the great Christmas shocks in the King George, just before our very eyes, Tornado Flyer, unthought of, unconsidered, gives Willie Mullins his first King George success for 20 years. The great Florida Pearl won it for him all those years ago. Today, Tornado Flyer for Danny Mullins has beaten the Nichols pair, Clandays Oboe and St Calvados, who are second and third. Frodon came next, then lost in translation. Pleased to say that Asterion Forlange has got up to his feet when falling at the last. He was in second place, but that is a stunning, stunning shock. Tornado Flyer has just won one of the great races in the calendar. It's his first win in any race for 2 years, this horse. Extraordinary scenes. Trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Danny Mullins. Tornado Flyer's a huge shock win.
Box sets like nowhere else with BBC iPlayer.
So why do you think your father suggested you come for counselling?
Because my mother died and he can't talk about it, and my sister and I didn't speak for a year, and because I deflect from the screaming void inside my empty heart.
BBC Three's Fleabag.
I'm good at this.
All episodes streaming now on BBC iPlayer.
Yes, a very good evening. Tim Darren's in the chair. It's BBC Sussex and BBC Surrey, a sports special, 8 hours. We are, 3 hours and 21 minutes in. Feels a bit like a sportathon this evening. What a finish at the Rec. Aldershot Town 1, Woking 1. If you're leaving and want to give us a call, feel free. 0800 232 1045 or 1046. Dorking winning 8-0. We'll get reaction from their manager in 2 or 3 minutes' time. A reminder coming up, of course, for you. At 8 o'clock tonight, we switch to the Premier League. Brighton and Hove Albion looking for their first win since September. They're at home to Brentford, of course. It's a big Premier League clash at the Amex. And will be interesting stuff. We'll hear from Graham Potter in the next 20 minutes or so, and we'll hear from Johnny Cantor from the Amex between 6 and 7 when we'll be looking back on the rest of the sporting year. And then after 7, we'll look back at the Albion sporting year. Johnny will pick his 3 favourite moments and build up to events at the Amex. And we'll read some of your early texts and tweets on the Albion as well, coming up in the next few minutes. A reminder, though, already in the Premier League today, a number of results, of course. Let's see what we've got. So Manchester City winning by 6-3. So they're top of the Premier League this evening. 6 points from Liverpool, whose game was called off for COVID. Arsenal winning 5-0 at Norwich. They are 4th in the table. Spurs beating Palace 3-0. Zaha sent off in that one. So Spurs 5th on 29. Arsenal 4th on 35. Arsenal have played 19. Spurs, though, just 16. And then you got West Ham 2, Southampton 3. Been a while since West Ham found that winning formula. Southampton, big win for them. That takes Hasenhüttl's side up to 14th tonight. They are on 20 points. They'll go above Everton, another side whose game was called off due to COVID. I think we had another postponement as well. It's going to be on Tuesday night. So games going thick and fast as well. Yeah, Leeds Villa are called off because of COVID. Reminder, Steven Gerrard has COVID as well, so he wouldn't have even been in the dugout before their game was called off as well today. We're going to get some reaction from Mark White in the next 10 minutes or so. Let's see if we can go back to the EBB Stadium. We've heard from one manager. Let's hear from Alan Dowson. He's with Rob Worrell, the working manager with Rob Worrell.
Alan Dowson, you got something you haven't had all season, a draw. Is it what you wanted? What's your reaction?
I thought first half we were a better side by quite a distance actually in the first half. Second half we got their tails up, we made a couple of mistakes and it got back in the game. I thought the penalty was an awful decision against it, to be honest. I thought it was a yard outside the box. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. Then you think it's game over then, but fair play to Max because obviously getting a penalty with Sells and Max putting that away after missing the last one. It just shows that we have got character in the team and we've got character around the place. So at the end of the day, I'm pleased with the point.
You were on the front foot, weren't you, in the first half? But found it difficult to break down Aldershot. They were pretty resilient at the back.
Yeah, they do. We get behind the ball and they do it well. The new manager's come in doing a good job. Local derbies, get frustrated at times. I thought it was more frustrating for us when they went down to 10 because we've got to find that extra pass, which we struggled at. We've got to move the ball quicker, which we should have done. But I didn't say we're losing at all, and when the penalty went in, I thought, cricky. But like I say, fair play to the lads fighting back again. But yeah, they're very hard to break down. Yeah.
So just to be clear, no qualms with it being a foul, but you thought just outside the box.
That's what I thought. I thought it was outside the box. That's what I've just been speaking to Terry Brown, who's an honest guy, and Terry reckons it was as well. So, but listen, if the referee's got it wrong, he's got it wrong. If he's got it, if it's right, then we'll find out because obviously all these games get videoed.
You'll move on quickly, Alan. You've got another game inside the next 48 hours. It's at home to Dover, and many sides have found that a much tougher fixture than it looks on paper because they may be down and adrift, but they're competitive in every game.
Of course, and that's what they do. They'll compete with Arnie Heseltine in charge, and when you're down at the bottom, you're expecting to go down. We've got nothing to lose, so we just got to make sure we're better on the day. Yeah, people talk about pressure. I've got to win a game. There's no doubt about it, and hopefully we can stop from Dover.
Wabuke came back off the bench today. No Rowan Ince. Anybody likely to come back available to you in the next 48 hours?
I hope so. It's just so because obviously Sol's obviously a massive for us, and Ince is when them two in midfield. We didn't lose that many games, to be honest, but both had COVID, both been out injured now, and we're just slowly getting back in. Lofty's the same, slowly getting back in.
Great stuff, Alan Dowson. Thanks very much for joining us. Back to you, Tim.
Thanks very much indeed to Rob Worrell. So you've heard from both managers. We'll put these on social media a little bit later this evening if you're making your way back in the car and you haven't managed to hear them in full. So we've heard from Mark Molesey and the working manager Alan Dowson in a dramatic 1-1 draw, 2 penalties in the last 7 or 8 minutes, including 6 minutes of stoppage time. What about National League South? Dorking Wanderers. I spoke to Mark White before this match and he said, Tim, we're starting to find some form now. We've got players coming back. We're going to be a force to reckon with in the second half of the season. And was he right? 8-0. They beat rivals Havant and Waterloo, who began the day above them in the playoff places in National League South. I'm delighted to say that Mark White, at the Dorking Wanderers manager, joins us. Good evening, Mark.
Hi, Tim.
I bet you had a good dream last night, but it wasn't as good as that, surely.
Yeah, no. I mean, absolutely. Brilliant performance, and we had a record crowd for us. Best part of 1,800 at Meadowbank. Anytime we get a kind of first, if you like, we always pinch ourselves, given the journey of the club. So over the moon, and we've been threatening to score some goals.
Yeah, and you did. I mean, it started very early. Alfie Rutherford on form, and then, of course, you had the sending off. How key was that, you think, if you were in the Havant and Waterlooville camp tonight? But surely it wasn't 8-0 difference, was it?
Well, I mean, this is it. 2-0 down and 10 men after just 4 or 5 minutes. It was going to be an extremely difficult afternoon for Havant, but we're not a team you want to play against with 10 men, the way we keep the ball. But we're potent. There's confidence in the club and the team at the moment, and we're looking dangerous, and our finishing was excellent.
Well, indeed. Hat-trick for Alfie Rutherford. He'll get the headlines, but is that fair? I guess the whole side.
Yeah, the whole side, really. I mean, the whole side played brilliantly. They're working really hard. But Alfie Rutherford, now, word for Alfie, because we've had a real injury crisis. He's stepped up this year. He's the most informed striker at this level across the country, getting all sorts of interest as they do. And he's only a young lad. He's 23 years old, and he's scored a hat-trick against his old club. And, we're delighted for him.
Yeah, you talked about the pressure or the interest in him. How hard is it at your level if you get an approach, to deal with that? How do you and the rest of the board align to that and decide what you do in that situation? Because I know you want to build something there and you want to get promoted, so you've got to take that into consideration, I guess.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, Alfie wouldn't want to leave here, and, it's just a great place to be. People, it's a club with a real togetherness, and players want to stay here and want to compete for things. We've done so well since we went into National League South. We got to the semi-finals of the Ploughs year one. We was leading it by quite a decent margin when it got curtailed last year, and we're in the mix again this year. And that's the journey. And we just keep trying so hard. We keep working at it, and everyone's behind us. So all the boys want to be at this club.
Now, I was mentioning earlier, talking to Les Freeman, who was telling us about the game. You're up to 5th now. Your goal difference is hugely improved after today. You're just 4 points behind Oxford. You've got a game in hand. Are you where you want to be with a couple more games of this period and then into the new year?
Yeah, I think we're under the surface, we're bubbling away. We've got the likes of Wes Fogden that are getting back to fitness. Isaac Philpott. We're in a good position as a club. And for me, it's really more so my focus is where we are point in time. As an overview, we're in a good place. And with lots of football to play, that's fantastic.
Finally, Mark, sounds like you're a bit of lurgy there. I'll ask you one more if I may. So the next game comes thick and fast. What about, was it Tuesday and Wednesday you're in action again?
The game's been called off due to COVID.
Aha. Okay.
So we are now awaiting a return leg at Havant.
Cool. Listen, I'll let you go. Get well. but
Thank you.
But if anything's a nice hot toddy tonight, it's looking at the league table and looking at 8 goals. Well done to your side tonight. Great stuff.
And the fans. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was going to chat a bit more about the incredible support, but Paul Mark sounds like he's got a bit of a cold. We're back to the EBB in a minute. We're going to talk attendance because there's 1,800 at Dorking, a club record for them. That's great news. There's a big crowd at the EBB as well. Let's go back there and scores on the doors. Who have you got this time, Uncle Rob? Rob Worrell.
Yes, I've been joined by the Aldershot captain, Lewis Kinsella. Probably the only Aldershot player I could talk to after this match because Kins basically both goals and both penalties involved your good self. Let's start with the first one. Very direct, 85 minutes on the clock. You get it, you bomb into the penalty area. You're pretty much running down the line on the edge of it. Tell me what happened next.
Yeah, no, obviously I knew their centre-half's clumsy. I can't think of his name, McNeely or
McNerney.
Whatever. McNerney, yeah, I knew he was clumsy, so if I could get at him, he'd give me something. He obviously give away a penalty. There was question marks whether it was in the box. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I just knew it was a foul. And then obviously Corey's our top goal scorer, and he's someone that will step up at the right time to do something special, and he did.
quite a wait for the penalty, wasn't there? But he pulled himself out of it, just composed himself, and that's the way to take a penalty under pressure.
Yeah, Corey's like a goldfish. I'm not sure. Every 10 seconds his brain resets. So I'm pretty sure he was fine taking a penalty. But yeah, no, brilliant penalty straight down the middle. Fair play to him. I don't know what he's on now, goal-wise, but he's been good for us.
Yeah, and then it's a question, of course, of seeing it out. But prior to that, Willard's come on for Andrews, and there's been a golden breakaway chance, and Tommy did pretty much all he could, didn't he? But it just agonisingly just drifted off and hit the post and came out.
Yeah, I think he needs to run straight down the middle. I think Alfie needs to slide it more central, give him the opportunity to go either side. I think sliding it down one side on his weak foot, it makes it now hard for Tommy to shoot. He'd done everything that he could possibly wish, like wanted to hit it across goal, unfortunately just hits the post. But yeah, no, that's a chance to kill the game, but it's not his fault. At the end of the day, I've given away a penalty and cost us the 3 points. But
you're also man of the match, Lewis, but let's talk about that difficult moment for you. You're just trying to swing through the ball and clear it in your own box, but I'm sure you'll concede you missed the ball, you got a bit of the man, and no complaints.
Yeah, no, it's a penalty, don't get me wrong. I see him last minute and he just nicks in front of me, does very well. Obviously it's a penalty, and they get a 1-1 draw away from home against 10 men, and their players are running on the pitch with a 1-1 draw against 10 men. If that was us, I wouldn't be happy with that.
Okay, moving on from there, that's 7 unbeaten now, 6 in the league, 5 wins and a couple of draws. You really have turned the corner.
Yeah, no, we're being hard to beat, and we're second half, we're a different team. It seems to be like the second half we just turn into a completely different team, and we're on a run now, and we're starting to understand the way the gaffer wants to play, and we're buying into everything that him and Tom and the coaching staff are doing, and honest, this club will go places under them too, and I'm really looking forward to it.
One thing I must just draw our attention to, there was one moment of unity between both sides today before the game. Somebody very dear to your heart, Marvin Morgan, a nice tribute paid to him this afternoon.
Yeah, no, brilliant. The fans here are amazing, and singing his name throughout the game and applauding, just different class, and even the Woking fans, to be fair to him, were applauding. And Marvin played for both clubs, and he was a special person, so it was only right that someone like today, he got the right reception.
Thank you very much, Aldershot skipper Lewis Kinsella. Back to you, Tim Dorrans.
Thank you very much indeed to Rob Warren and to Lewis, paying tribute to Marvin there. We heard a lot more of tributes to Marvin, Gary Waddock as well before the show. We also heard from the Woking majority shareholder John Katz giving backing to Alan Delson. If you want to hear that, that's on social media now. We popped that up first thing this morning. So there's lots to do. We'll have a reaction on social media after the next hour or so as well for you. A reminder, of course, it's the Albion kicking off at 8 tonight. We'll hear from Graham Potter in the next few minutes as well, and look back on the sporting years. Jane Pendergast has been looking at some of the big national stories of 2021. But if you're out on the roads, you'll want a bit of this.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Travel.
And the good news is it isn't looking too bad at all. If you have been listening for 3 or 4 hours, firstly, you deserve a medal. But secondly, there were all sorts of problems on the main M25 earlier today, but things much clearer now. I've had an email. Our producer had a phone call this evening. It's about a problem around Hailsham. Let's read this to you. It's Erston Road. Still remains closed both ways. There was a road traffic accident there near Salt Marsh Lane. So that's the big sort of story locally tonight. So look out for that. That's near Salt Marsh Lane. Elsewhere, reduced service across the network on Avanti West Coast because of a shortage of train crews. On the roadworks front, lots of them. Alfriston, there are temporary lights on the A27 at Drusilla's roundabout because of roadworks. One lane closed now on the A27 from Brighton to Lewis. That's because of roadworks. So that's going from Brighton to Lewis. Not the other way. Of course, you might be heading that way on your way to the Amex. Kick off at 8 o'clock. Adrian will be here, and we'll start the build up to that in the next hour and a half or so. A new in lane closed from London Road to Grosvenor Court in Guildford because of electricity work there. In Battle, there are temporary lights on the A2100, the A2100 Hastings Road near Stars Green Lane because of water main work. In Hazelmere, there are temporary lights on Way Hill around St Christopher's Road because of electricity work. Wolsey Road closed between Portsmouth Road and Lammas Lane in Esher because of roadworks. Gas main work has closed Church Road in Polegate from High Street to St John's Road, and in Hove, gas main works, so there's a lane closed on the A270 Old Shoreham Road around the Shell petrol station. That's your travel now. Travel your trust. We'll have more in around about half an hour's time.
BBC.
And me button stuck. Good evening, Tim Darren's in the chair. We're 25 minutes away from 6 o'clock. Between 6 and 7, we're going to have a look back at the sporting year, pay tribute to Ted Dexter. His great life, 86 years, captain of England, captain of Sussex, great character. John Philby's been speaking to Adrian about him. We'll look back on the big Sussex Sport Awards stories and our Olympians and Paralympians from 2021. That's all coming up between 6 and 7. We'll also drop in on the Amex for the first time, where, of course, the Albion are at home this evening to Brentford. It's the final game on this bank holiday for us and for the Premier League schedule as a whole. A reminder already in the Premier League, Manchester City beating Leicester 6-3, Arsenal winning 5-0 at Norwich, Spurs 3-0 at home to Palace, and Southampton winning at West Ham 3-2. It's Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 0, and I think Brighton are going to have to go certainly not to be first on match of the day. They have to play really well, but we shall see. And what we want is a win, of course, for the Seagulls. Played really well this season, their best ever season in the Premier League, but it's now 11 games without a win. How does Graham Potter, the Albion head coach, feel about that winless streak?
Listen, we're aware of that, and as I've said before, this league can challenge you in terms of you can go sometimes without a win for a while, and it's not ideal. We don't like it. We would prefer it if we'd had a few more W's recently, but the points we have is the points we have, and we have to try to improve to get that victory. We haven't been far away in a lot of the games, but at the same time we have to also acknowledge we haven't been good enough, because the results say that. They haven't been so bad. I think we've lost 3 games in the last 11, so that, according to my maths, that's 8 draws. But clearly, wins is what makes everybody a little bit happier, and that's something we're trying to do, and we'll try to do it at the weekend. As you can imagine, we're not celebrating because we're not exactly winning every week, but we're not. It's not doom and gloom either. Professional, determined, focused, looking forward to the match against Brentford.
How much pressure are you feeling at the moment with the current run of results?
No, I don't feel pressure in terms of that. I mean, it's not pleasant because we're all human. We want to win. There's an internal pressure that you want to try and do better, and you want to try and help the team, and you want to try and get that victory. But like I said, I think you've got to. The trick is also to analyse it correctly, to put it in perspective, to see the situation for what it is, because there's a lot going on behind the results, if you like. And like I said, we've got, I think it's 20 points. So, that's not the end of the world for us at all. That's something to be quite positive about, not jumping over everything, but still not the end of the world either. So again, analyse the situation properly, perspective, try to improve.
Graham Potter, much more from him, much more build-up with Johnny, Warren and Adrian. Officially from 7, we'll drop in on Johnny at the Amex in the next hour when we're looking back on the sporting year. And, of course, from 7, all the build-up followed by full live commentary here on BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey. The show finishing at 10 tonight, when it's Alex Dyke, of course, will be here at 10.
Sets like nowhere else with BBC iPlayer.
So why do you think your father suggested you come for counselling?
Because my mother died and he can't talk about it, and my sister and I didn't speak for a year, and because I deflect from the screaming void inside my empty heart.
BBC Three's Fleabag.
I'm good at this.
All episodes streaming now on BBC iPlayer.
Now, we're going to switch sports for a moment to the cricket. I'm afraid you may not find this particularly nice listening, but of course, England losing the opening 2 matches in the 5-match Ashes series. So if they don't win this third Test match, Australia, who held the Ashes, will retain them. It is that simple. England put into bat this morning and they crumbled yet again. 185 all out. Australia 61 for 1 in reply. Not particularly pretty most of the time. Eleanor Oldroyd has been speaking to the BBC's cricket correspondent Jonathan Agnew about the day's play.
57,000 were in here today for the first day of the Boxing Day test, and the Australians among them all went off very contented at the end of the day. But if you want to know the story of the first day of the third Ashes test from an England point of view, here's Jonathan Agnew telling you everything you need to know in 5 seconds.
Oh, he's not going to hold out, surely. Oh, no.
So, yeah, that was the last ball before tea. England were already 5 wickets down at that point, and then Jos Buttler came charging down the wicket, smashed Nathan Lyon straight into the hands of Scott Boland at deep mid-wicket. Australia bowling England out for 185 and 61 for 1 in reply. You could say that the Aussies are thoroughly on top. They're just 124 behind. Jonathan Agnew, our cricket correspondent, with us. Well, it was just
rather
a
sum
poor
it up,
day.
didn't it? Yeah,
It
it was terrible, and that, I'm afraid, on the stroke of tea. And what's interesting is that you can see all the way down the line of commentary boxes. We're only separated by a pane of glass all the way down. And when that happened, I sort of looked around. Actually, Ian Botham was in the next box here, and looked beyond him, and Australian faces were just as sort of bemused as English, saying, What was that? It was just an awful moment. It was ghastly. I mean, Buttler knew it the moment he hit it, and he walked off in high dudgeon. Probably went ballistic in the dressing room. People would have got out of the way, but it was just awful. And you have these bad days sometimes, and often there's one bit that kind of sums it all up, and that did sum it up.
And particularly after the resistance that Jos Buttler showed in the final day at Adelaide.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Root talked a lot about clarity of mind when I interviewed him the other day, and that's why these changes were made. Crawley coming in and Bairstow coming in, and clarity of mind it does make sense. You can get haunted by the events that are happening on a regular basis. There's nowhere on this series and this tour for English batsmen to go off and just get a break. They are facing the same bowlers more or less every time, getting out to the same people. So you do get a bit confused, and I think the Buttler dismissal really sums up where he is a bit at the moment. He dropped those catches at Adelaide. He'll feel very guilty about that. Yes, he batted nicely and determinedly in a losing cause. But then you could turn around and say, well, if you'd taken the catches, mate, we might not be in that situation. So, he will still have that guilt. And therefore, how clear is his mind? You look at that shot and you think, well, it's not.
You talk about the England batsman not getting a rest. Of course, Pat Cummins got a rest because he missed the Adelaide test because he got pinged. Won the toss, came back as captain, won the toss, opted to bowl on a nice green pitch under cloudy skies, and he bowled so beautifully in that morning session to take the first 3 wickets.
Oh, he was brilliant. And I mean, I'm definitely going to excuse Hamid from any criticism because he got a brilliant ball. He had to play opening batsman. The one that got Crawley wasn't bad either. It squared him up. I think Malan might be a bit disappointed. He just opened the face of the bat to almost run the ball to slip just before lunch. I mean, if England only lost 2 wickets, if England put in up to lunch, they actually would have felt pretty good about that. You are going to lose a couple of wickets, but to lose 3 right on the stroke of lunch and with the reduced batting resources that they have, and that's another thing to really point the finger at Buttler about. It was Wood in next, and then Robinson and Leach. So he really needs to be more responsible than that. But yeah, I mean, Cummins bowled beautifully. Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely on it. And although he said he was very angry, sitting and watching the game on the telly rather than playing in it, perhaps that little break has done him some good.
And we should talk about Joe Root, obviously, another 50 for him. I mean, he has this habit, doesn't he, of getting to 50 and then getting out. He looked
a
livid.
poor shot. Yeah, he was a poor shot. It was a very poor shot. It perhaps didn't quite bounce as much as he expected it to, but if you look at that shot in isolation, that's why he was so furious. I mean, we criticise and say that was a bad shot and that was a bad shot, but you can so often just tell by the batsman's reaction as to what he thinks. He was cross. Buttler was cross. Bairstow was just disappointed because he got a really good ball and he sat there on the ground because it knocked him over and he still sat there thinking, it was a good catch. So the body language of the batsman tell you often what you need to know. And that Root went off like that, storming off and smashing the bat with his bat and so on. That was real anger. He's given his players, certainly his bowlers, a real hurry up after the Adelaide game. They had this clear the air meeting in which they could all come out and do better. And then he gets out to a shot like that. Yes, he did get a 50, but he won't be watching the highlights of that tonight, put it that way.
Johnny Bairstow returning to the side in place of Ollie Pope actually played quite nicely, didn't he? But then got out as well. And that's the difference in the previous Test matches that England have played in this series, that there has been a partnership somewhere, apart from the first innings at the Gabba. There has been a partnership in there somewhere that's I mean, as I say, it's still a massively inferior batting performance by England.
Yeah, but Bairstow got blown away. He got a good ball, bouncer, short, followed him. He got in an impossible position and just gloved a catch into the offside. But again, I mean, he could see the writing on the wall. He was 8th person out. So he had to try and play positively in those circumstances. But, England lost 8 wickets for 124 runs today on a pitch. Yes, it's green, but it's not done very much. And I think that the way that Warner and Harris, the 2 Australians, batted there very busily, I know Warner got out, but they just put that into perspective. It could be a long day again tomorrow for England, unless they, take a stack of wickets in the morning.
And again, not much luck for England's bowlers. I mean, 61 for 1 at the close. That dismissal of David Warner, as you say, just caught by Zach Crawley off James Anderson in the gully. He made 38. But Mark Wood bowled really well, bowled really rapidly.
Bowled very fast, 94 miles an hour, around about that. And he was shaking up the batsman. And so, lots of effort, lots of beating of the bat, opportunities of ball flying over slips, nothing went to hand. And when you are losing, that rub of the green, those little fractions of millimetres that make all the difference, they tend to avoid you as well. They go with the team that wins. They've got the momentum, and that's certainly where Australia are at the moment.
How do England regroup going into tomorrow?
Well, they've got to get out there and bowl and catch everything that comes their way. And so, they do need that bit of a change of the rub of the green. They've got to be controlled. They can't let Australia get away to a good start. They have got a night watchman in there. Got to knock him over and get down to Labuschagne and Smith where the bowlers are still fresh and bowl well at them. Bowl that bold length, that brave length that Joe Root talked about. He can set a field or two that protects the bowlers from that, and then see where they go from there. But there's a kind of feeling of inevitability about things at the moment.
Yeah, Big David, Jonathan Agnew and Ellie Eldroy from 4:30 tomorrow morning. England with a lot of work to do. After the day's play, Johnny Bairstow spoke to Channel 5.
To lose the toss and get put in on a pitch that was doing plenty, I thought we grafted pretty well first up. Obviously, David and Joe put on another good partnership. Really unfortunate to lose David just before lunch, otherwise that would have been a good session for us.
You had to come into this match without a lot of preparation yourself. How was that, playing your first Test match back for a little while?
Yeah, naturally, you'd like a bit more game time underneath your belt. Unfortunately, with the COVID restrictions and everything like that, you're not able to do so. We've not been able to get as many in-tour fixtures, if you like. But look, it's part and parcel of the game at the moment. We're playing a lot of cricket all around the world in different formats, so you've got to be adaptable to different conditions at different points.
Quite a nasty little delivery from Mitchell Starc in the end that you were trying to get under, it seemed like.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, and it just followed me. Look, it's one of those, there's been quite a lot that have carried through to the keeper on them, so we've seen there as well, there's a little bit more inconsistent bounce this evening. Obviously Marcus Harris got one on the glove there, and then the following ball didn't carry through to the keeper, so look, we'll be looking to exploit those areas in the morning. The morning session will be a huge session, and let's see how we go.
And then getting David Warner out shortly before stumps, he's made a lot of runs in the series. That must give you a bit of heart going into tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. He was always looking to put pressure back on our bowlers, and that's how he plays. Like you say, he scored runs in this series and previously, but no, it was a big boost to pick him up just before the end, and like I say, we come back in the morning, all guns blazing, raring to go.
Great stuff. Johnny Bairstow, being positive, you need it, but you would have thought England a couple of days away from defeat in the Ashes, and that will give the Aussies the Ashes. We're going to hear some reaction from Max Kretschmar in a moment's time. Our final interview from the Woking Aldershot game, of course, at the Rec that finished 1-1. We'll try and play the goals again for you. We'll also, of course, after 6, we're going to look back at what has been a remarkable sporting year for lots of our local Olympians, Paralympians and so on, and pay tribute to Ted Dexter. We're also going to have a national look back at the sporting year in a moment's time. But if you are on your way back from the Rec, I thought you might like this. It was 0-0 with about 3 minutes to go.
Corey Andrews steps up and smashes it home, high down the middle, and the Shots players celebrate in front of the East Bank. Kretschmar steps up against Laurie Walker, takes a deep breath and sends him the wrong way. Walker dives to the right, Kretschmar goes just right of centre, and Woking have levelled.
Yes, so Max Kretschmar, the hero, we're going to hear from him in just a moment's time. The time is 7 minutes to 6. Adrian Harms is here at 6. We'll also go over to the Amex for you as well. Start to build up, of course, for the Albion, our second commentary game of the weekend, of the evening. Albion at home to Brentford. That's coming up.
Box sets like nowhere else with BBC iPlayer.
So why do you think your father suggested you come for counselling?
Because my mother died and he can't talk about it, and my sister and I didn't speak for a year, and because I deflect from the screaming void inside my empty heart.
BBC Three's Fleabag.
I'm good at this.
All episodes streaming now on BBC iPlayer.
Good evening. You're on your way to the Amex. Should be an absolute belter tonight. The Albion looking for a first win in 12. We'll have much more build-up. But our first commentary game today saw a dramatic 1-1 draw, as we heard there. Max Kretschmar with the penalty in the 4th minute of stoppage time. Let's go back to the EBB Stadium and rejoin Rob.
I'm joined by Wokin's Max Kretschmar. Max, a point in the end. A lot of drama, of course, in those final 10 minutes, but overall a draw, fair result on the day?
I think, yeah, well, Aldershot, when they went down to 10 men, I thought it galvanised them really well and they were impressive and the crowd got on their side. I thought we were a better team in the first half without creating, making the goalie work too much. So, look, I'll be biased and say maybe we deserved 3 points, but we've gone 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go. So, yeah, we're happy with the point, but obviously we'll see them again on the second and hopefully we can get 3.
Woking came into the game very much on the front foot. Was that a part of your game plan, or was it necessitated by the fact that Aldershot were making themselves very hard to break down?
Yeah, no, they got behind the ball. Obviously, we didn't know, with COVID going around, we didn't know who would play. We kind of knew the shape that they play, and I think they changed it after 20 minutes. So they, because we was on top, we was very, we're playing forward, and like I said, we didn't create too many openings, but we were playing very well. And then, like I said, in the second half, we slowed our play down a bit, especially when they had 10 men. So it was a little bit frustrating, but no, look, it's a derby game. There was, like you said, there was drama, and yeah, we're happy having gone behind. We've got a point out of the game.
Now, with the recent run that you've been on and the Wokin's record in recent years in this derby match, you must have thought the writing was on the wall again in the 85th minute. What was your viewpoint for the Aldershot penalty, and what did you think of it?
I think it's a foul. I thought it was outside the box. It may be on the line, so it may be a pen, but I'll say it was just outside the box, but obviously we can look at it again. Yeah, no, it was a foul. It was a good play from Kinsella, and yeah, he dispatched it well. And then obviously the character we showed, I was looking around, obviously heads were down and that, but there's so much stoppage time. You always think with Tavon Campbell up front and myself, we can always maybe create an opening, and luckily for him, we found his feet in the box, and we should have found him more in the box today. I've been telling him just to, we want to play your feet and let him do his magic, and that was the bit of magic he created at the end for us. Yeah,
very clever of Campbell to nip in and just get the undoubted contact for the penalty. So what's going through Max Kretschmar's mind? You know you're in 94th, 95th minute by this stage. If you're going to get a point, it's down to you.
Yeah, no, I missed my last penalty as well, so that was playing on my mind for the last couple of weeks. Missed one at Boreham Wood, we were 2-0 down, and again they were down to 10 men, so that could have changed the game. So frustrating, but yeah, no, just always a deep breath before I go up, and then obviously I think the Aldershot penny went down the middle. I went down the middle today as well, but yeah, just wanted to grab the ball out as quick as we could, and create another opening, which we did, but again, not a gilt-edged chance. But yeah, no, there's definitely some positives to take. Mixture from the fans today. Obviously, like you said, we have been on a bad run. I think it's boring to say that the performances have been there. In, I'd say, the majority of the games. Yes, there's been some poor halves and some poor half an hours and 20 minutes here, but like you said today, I think we're a better team for about 80% of the game, and then we've given up a silly from a set piece, from a throw-in, and given away a penalty. But yeah, the thing is, now we've got 48 hours into the next one against Dover, and then Aldershot again on the second. So it's manic. It's all about recovering now, and then trying to put in another solid performance. We just keep putting the performances in. Surely we'll get some results soon, but yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Max Kretschmar. I appreciate it. Cheers, fella.
Yeah, Max, who got the penalty in stoppage time to get Woking a 1-1 draw at Aldershot Town. Let's play you a little bit more. If you are just getting in the car, you might be an Aldershot fan. Let's hear a little bit of Mark Molesley speaking after the game. News coming up in 5 minutes.
Mark, you haven't had long to compose yourself. I guess you've just been through every emotion possible in those last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of a game, especially that second half. I felt first half we were a bit wishy-washy, didn't quite execute how we would have liked. Thought we were a little bit on the back foot, but they're an honest bunch, and they rallied well second half. Obviously the sending off is a game-changing situation. You know, one which probably looked a little bit overzealous. I'm not sure, but he won the ball, but you know it was quite far away from me, so it's hard to comment. But then we're faced with being down to 10 men in a derby, so it was always going to be difficult. But the way the lads rallied, and again the fight and the endeavour, spurred on by a great crowd here, we were just so close to pulling it off, but unfortunately had a cruel blow at the end.
Is it testimony to your side and how well they reorganised that to the naked eye it wasn't abundantly obvious that it was 10 against 11 for long periods?
No, you know, and good from the lads that, you know, that situation will serve us well in the future. I said that to them, that, you know, we've gone down to 10 and we've got ourselves organised and we were still hard to beat, and you know, we were so close to job done, agonisingly close. But in these games, and the way the game ebbed and flowed, is that you first and foremost you don't want to lose the game, and we've taken a point today, and maybe we shouldn't underestimate that under the circumstances. It's been a tough few weeks for us actually. You know, you're looking forward to trying to get players back, but with COVID hanging around, you know, all my staff were missing today. You know, they were glued to it at home, so we've had a disjointed sort of couple of weeks with what's going on, as the world. No excuses at all, you know, that's what's the nature and what's happening. But all in all, when you wrap it up and you see how everything's done, you know, we're still 7 unbeaten.
Yeah, it's an excellent run, Mark, and if I said you've been through all the emotions, I guess your skipper will too, because he's won a penalty at one end and then inadvertently given one away at the other end. No complaints, I guess, for that.
Yeah, again, I don't know whether the guys probably could see that he was about to volley it and stepped in, and whether he preempted that and went down, but again it looked like there was contact, so it's a shame. It was just one of those last, you know, desperation and tiredness, because those boys put an absolute shift in out there, and yeah, a bit of confusion. We had a chance to clear our lines and didn't quite doing it, and then yeah, the chaos ensued, and but look, these things happen.
So 1-1 draw then for Woking and Aldershot at the EBB Stadium tonight. That is Mark Molesley. We'll put the 4 interviews of 2 managers and a couple of players up on social media in the next couple of hours or so. We're starting to wind up, of course, for the Albion. Kicking off at 8 o'clock. We'll go live to the Amex in the next hour, but in the next hour we'll join Adrian Harms after the news, and he'll be looking back at some of the emotive moments of the sporting year, both sort of triumphant and sad, but it'll be a lovely roundup of the sporting year. That's between 6 and 7. We'll pop to the Amex as well, and then from 7 till 10 it's Brentford Brighton at the Amex with Johnny Warren and Adrian. That's all coming up. We want you to get in contact, and we'll tell you how to do that as we build up, of course, texts and so on in the next hour. But a reminder where we are then. 8-0 win for Dorking Wanderers. They're up to 5th now, 30 points, just 4 off the top of the game in hand in the National South. That 1-1 draw between Woking and Aldershot means Woking are 14th, 10 points off the playoffs. Aldershot Town are 21 points, and they are 6 points clear of trouble this evening, so things not looking too bad for them.